All right, guys, today's guest is Kelly Akins and Justin Young. This podcast is quickly becoming very Ford focused. It's like there's been a flood of Ford people on here, and then with Mod Knots coming up, I'll probably have some more Ford people on again. So Mod Knots, 90,000 plus payouts, Justin Young's event. We're going to talk all about it. Kelly with Kelltrac, getting cars working. He's been in this industry for freaking years, getting cars to work right on all surfaces, and recently did some no prep stuff with a buddy of mine that I want to hear about too. You know, freaking Moretti dude out here famous, but
yeah.
let's get into it. So freaking Mod Knots, November 8th to 12th. It's basically the week that this is coming out. 90,000 plus in payout. What is it, 96?
Yeah, we're 94.5 right now, but I think we'll get a couple last minutes. People want to get it to 100.
Yeah.
So I think there's some money that's going to come out that is going to.
And what is that? 10 classes?
We have 14 classes, 21 winners. Quite a few subclasses inside those classes.
First year at BMP.
Big move.
We knew this was coming.
Honestly,
even though
it's a long time coming.
You guys,
I moved here 4
Yeah.
years ago, so I was like, why am I still at SGMP? But I liked the ownership at the time, and it just. Vic has been more than hospitable. Wade's amazing. I live 30 minutes away. Logistically, like I'm a one-man operation. People don't realize that. I'm out there hanging banners myself.
Yep.
So it's a lot easier when it's 40 minutes away. And
are you like me though? Because I'm also a one-man operation because I'm stubborn and don't ask for help very well. That's why I end up being.
I'm very considerate. I try to be. And all the racers want to help me, and I'm like, you focus on your car, go fast, win the checks and trophies. Like that's what I want you to do. So we do have a couple of people coming out to help, but I won't expect that. If they show up, cool. If not, I'll be out there 12 hours a day or more. Hanging banners.
Well, you're a one-man operation too, right?
I am, yeah.
Shit. Well, yours is more of I guess yours is a business too.
He's a real business, Like I can go home at the end of my duty day. He's 16-hour days.
Sleep anymore.
Like when I told him to come on this podcast with me, he was like, fuck.
When?
When?
Well, we've chatted.
Yeah, we've talked a bunch.
So it is what it is. I mean, we're all just a bunch of one-man
I
fans.
I wanted Kelly on the podcast because he's a big fan of the race and he's a big mod. Like, we've been doing this stuff since early 2000s. And so you're not going to have much more of a history buff with this community than he. And we probably 60, 70 cars out there have his products on it, So I can't have a race without people that are actually putting products on cars.
That's the tough thing about suspension is it's not like loud that it's on the car. It can go completely unnoticed. A turbo, an engine, like you kind of know whose engine it is or turbos, but suspension is like that hidden marvel.
Yeah, sometimes, I'll be honest, every time I go to a race or something, I'll have people walk up and be like, hey, can you look at this video? And I don't know who they are, and they're like, I bought this from you like last year, and I'm like, damn it, So, but like you said, because it's unassuming. Yeah. So, I've been doing it so long though. I did it for BMR for a long time. Like I mentioned before we started, I had a business called Modular Speed, which was modular Mustang focused, and it wasn't just engines though; it was everything. So that's when I really got into suspension. But
because we talked a little bit about F-body stuff, which is funny because you're more F-body stuff, or more F-body stuff than most people. But now you sell mostly Mustang stuff. And there's
I started
so many
with
S197s.
kind of with suspension. Like years ago, I got into the torque arm stuff and started learning because what I found is a lot of people had theories that they were posting on the forums back like ls1.com, ls1 tech and all that stuff way back in the day. And they would post about their torque arm theories, and I would sit back and think, that's not how that works. The energy doesn't move that way. Like they would, people would talk about anti-squat and all that separation with the torque arms. Yeah. So then I started getting into it anyways, long story short. Yeah, I do mostly Mustang now, but really, man, like Corvettes, F-150s, Camaros is a huge part of my business. So,
like C5, C6s?
Yes. Those guys are starting to no prep them a lot too. So there's the little things you pick up on. And, some of the stuff I do, I would say it's more magical. Some of it's just common sense. It's things that people don't think of when they're setting.
Common sense to Kelly, but not. Right. Like geometry is witchcraft to me. I don't understand.
Right.
Well, even, F-bodies have been out since 1999, and I posted the other day asking about some opinions, and I got like 12 different opinions from people that I really trust too. And I'm like, wait, does nobody really know how a torque arm works? Because it was all just kind of guessing.
It's actually 93. But
yeah, or 90s,
I mean,
exactly.
Yeah, like early 90s. And then you have the third gens before the fourth gen, too, that had very similar. So you're right, though.
It's still like, I don't know.
Yeah, it's so many people don't. And it's weird because they sold so many of those cars. And for a long time, though, those, I'll be honest, like in the 2000 to 2006 range, you go to the drag strip, there was a ton of F-bodies. Trans Ams out there. I mean...
Well, that's where, I mean, I graduated in 01, and I still, like, low-key have a romance with the SS and the W6.
You have to.
I think whenever they put me out of business for my nationals, I might go buy one.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I mean, it's a great-looking car.
It makes me sad because...
It looks bad on the inside, but the outside looks
I
good.
like the look, and it makes me sad because I know it's not the best chassis for me to be in, but I like the look.
They can work pretty good, though. People don't give them enough benefit. I mean, they can work pretty good. As a matter of fact, years ago I had a 98 Cobra that I really wanted to convert to like a panhard bar torque arm suspension, because on those cars, I mean, everybody rants and raves about the Fox bodies and the 4-links, but they're that short arm, the short upper triangulated. They're not as good as people. Listen, you can make anything work now with shock technology, tire technology, track prep. But at the end of the day, the nice thing about the F-body, though, is it's very adjustable. So,
I mean, I honestly...
Torque arm links, you got all kinds of aftermarket Midwest chassis, the BMRs, the TRZs, Team Zs, all these companies now they all have parts for that car now.
I'm hard on it, but I mean, it goes 115 60 foot, so I can't really be that mad about it. Like, it works pretty well, and it's very, like, it does not care the surface. Like Bradenton, you know, like, rarely the track will go away. My car, no problem. The other night, like 4 cars spun. My car gets down, no problem.
Right. Is it because it has no torque?
It has no torque. That's what I was... It has no torque. Exactly. That's part of the issue.
Yeah, we're living in a weird world.
Once it gets a big block in it, though.
It's funny when you hear people do 1/260 and they're like, "Oh, I'll get after it." I'm like, 1/260 foot's, you know, I grew up with 1/7 was a race car.
The last 5 years for that stuff has been
ridiculous.
Like, I don't know. I think somebody told me earlier at the race that's going on now, WCF or whatever.
Yeah, World Cup.
I think the Grey Goose car went like a 109. Somebody
with a 6R80.
Yeah, so somebody posted that, and it's like,
200.
think about that though, a 1.0 60 foot in a car that has like modern. I'm not going to sit here and say they're going to drive to California. Yeah, it's a race car.
Yeah,
I mean, you know, but it has modern day parts in it is the thing. Like, yes, it's a 3 or 4 speed 6R80, but still, it's factory style stuff.
Yeah.
You know? So
Man, I was kicking the wall on that one though. Senior went 703. They're trying for that 699.
I didn't know.
Yeah, I didn't
Somebody
know
only told me the 60 foot earlier on the way
today
here.
in qualifying. I mean, when this comes out, they may have already gotten their 6.
Has he gotten
hopefully.
6s?
No, never has. It'd be the first time. That
I
air
know
is
that
good
they
there.
were trying.
The track's good. The air is good. That would be the good place to do it.
That was so close.
Yeah.
He was just a little bit away. One little bit, maybe a deep stage or something away. Like
So that reminds me of all of the accomplishments actually that's happened at Modnats. I was there when JPC.
Yeah, first the 6s.
And then the following year was the Justin Jordan. And these guys when they got their 690s at 200 plus.
It was 699 was like 2018 was ridiculous. Now it's 630s.
Yes.
In just 4 years. I don't even understand how they're doing it, but and then Jim Brown's running 7.1s with a street car.
Right there. He's on the
it would take a race car 4 years ago to do that. You know, so
Remember how loud the track got when JPC went 699 though?
I mean,
everybody was like,
I said the next goal was 399 in the 8th. That's the next goal. That used to be pro mod territory. You know, so that's why I made mod Outlaw or the Mod Extreme 28 big payout, because if I can get guys to lean after it, you know, I know they're at 4.1. I can get a 4.0 because there's some no time cars that allegedly have gone, you know, records, but you'll never hear about it. But I want to see it. I want to see a 399 from a door car.
The thing
that
is,
would be amazing.
Brett has a short track figured out, whereas most people just kind of they'll just count on their power out the back. So he's obviously my front runner thought of being able to do it. Everybody else is just like, well, I'll just get out of the 330 and then I'll just lay everything.
Use horsepower at the end of it.
Yeah,
you can't do that with the 8th.
Yeah, you kind of have to overcome all of it, which is why I like 8th Mile Racing is because you can't rely on that power.
Yeah,
which
can't be lazy down
helps
low.
me a little bit.
Yeah.
Somebody that doesn't have the power to. People are like, when do you put power into it? I'm like, 1.2 seconds into the run is all in. Like, it's like a nitrous car. You just have to hope that you have just enough.
Right.
But so it's coming up this weekend, and so are we gonna see like, man, what are we gonna see there? Like, what's the top class going to be doing? I know there's some no time guys that are probably, like you're saying, close to the 3.
And I wish some of them wouldn't run no time just to light the board. So I'm, kind of frustrated at that. But that's one of the better classes. This has got 16 cars that are pretty quick.
Is Kevin Mullins running no time, or is he going to light the boards?
He's lighting the boards.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, he's lighting the boards. And so he's got his car coming out, Brett, Keith Ray, Mark Mayer, a bunch of X275 cars coming out with no weight. Because it's pretty much wide open. Whatever, run what you run, twin turbo, big billet, whatever. I want to see a 399.
As long as you got a bunch of cams, a lot of chains.
Yeah, that's right.
It kind of fits in.
That's right. And there's a lot of traditional mod motors out there, so it's good to see the 5.8s, 5.4s out there with the 5.0s.
I think Mark's gonna impress some people.
Yeah, I mean he runs 4.1s at heavy weight. So if he can, bigger turbo. I mean, he's restricted to an 88, but he can put a 98 on it and let it eat.
And once you're not class racing like that, where every ounce, every time you win something, they give you more weight. Yeah. Every time you go fast, they're like, well, guess what? Here's your lead trophy.
I mean, I've been trying to reduce rules in a lot of the classes to kind of, because we don't have a lot of people to pull from. We need everyone out there. That's why I have so many subclasses, because now I can ET limit. I know a lot of people don't like that, but you have a back seat in one rule, and people start complaining about, oh, this guy has a rear seat delete, and then you start, kind of alienating, what the whole point is. Does it give it an unfair advantage? No, there's no advantage to a back seat, So you just keep it to an ET class, show up with whatever you have, as long as it has 20-inch tires, a mod motor, whatever transmission, whatever turbocharger or supercharger per the class, and let it run. Everyone knows what ET you're trying to run up to.
Get in where you fit in as a...
Yeah, no one's going to change their car for one race in a niche race. So we try to do things a little bit more pragmatic than other races where they're hard and fast on the way they do it. We're kind of like, if it makes sense and it's like common sense, we'll entertain the conversation. We'll put it up to a vote, with the class racers, the ones that are actually impacted by it, and see where it shakes out. You make we've seen other race events make really bad decisions, based on, either a hard and fast rule that's black and white. We like to operate in gray. Carbon roof on a car that doesn't matter. Okay,
exactly.
You're not going to change a carbon roof. So
yeah, classes die that way with too many rules. I mean, we've seen plenty of classes get attempt. I mean, I've seen an overdrive class try to come out and it just gets squashed by. It's usually a Mustang with a 6R80.
Like Jason Miller's race makes sense because he has 500 cars, all different combinations. I got it.
You cover all the bases there.
But it's also tough because you look at their tech inspection and people are you have to take off both hot and cold side of your turbo and they measure them.
They bring 50 people for tech.
That sounds like a pain in the ass.
But he's also making money, so he's able to bring in that people. I don't there's not a lot of overhead. So I can't bring in a lot of that stuff to enforce. So
there's a real high prestige with that too, of those people are trying so hard to get into that World Cup. I mean, I haven't raced it with my car.
I just want to go watch it. That's prestigious for me, let alone race it, in front of 30,000 people. And, it's pretty.
One of the cool things Justin does too is, he's willing to work with people on things. For example, that post you made with Ray Valero, whatever. He's my customer. The
Skeletor
GT500. I loved how you said, okay, we got our answers. Everybody that's over 50 said no. Everybody that doesn't show up at the race said no.
Yeah.
All the racers that are in the class said it's okay.
Yeah. And we'll still hold a vote at the race.
Yeah, exactly. But
and worst case, if they say no, I'll put him in the pro or do something. The only issue I had, he had no taillights, so he's going to have taillights. And that just makes sense. But
you should have taillights on that thing regardless.
People are like, the rules are the rules, but I'm like, I'd never imagine a car like this showing up to my race. Because everything, I allowed methanol in the class, I allowed spindle mount wheels, I allowed anything permitted.
It's probably not the lightest car in the class.
It's not.
No. It doesn't even matter at that point.
It's a slick car, no prep car, but people are weird about, last minute changes to favor. And I'm like, got it. If there's an advantage, if he had a 315 drag radial on there, or he had a dual power adder with nitrous with a big block billet, something outrageous that was not
So
per
the car
rule.
for people listening is a GT500, like a Gen 2, whatever they are, GT500.
Yeah, it was a
And
totaled one.
yeah, totaled, completely no body on it, cage, stick shift, trying to run the stick shift class, and it's not like that car's that light.
Yeah.
It just has no body panels on it. I mean, the doors are heavy on those things, granted, but
Yeah, I just think it would be unique to have a car like that, but it's not my race. It's
it's
everyone's
got a
race.
rear-mounted turbo too, right?
It's a no prep car, so all the weight's in the back.
Yeah, that
trying
makes
to
sense.
I'm sure you've seen that car at Bradenton.
It's been around forever.
It's been around forever.
Yeah, he's had that for like 5
And
years.
He's had different combos.
Ironically,
on
like
it.
he's safer with his cage and his chutes than most people. And so if you want me to start pointing at cars that don't belong, I can point at a lot of people. You know, so. At the end of the day, as the payouts get higher, people are going to want to bitch more, and that's the byproduct of I'm trying to just get back to the community. But people want to win the trophies, they want to win the checks, the money. That comes a lot of, pushback on it. But that's why ET limit the class. Everyone knows where they're running up to. Stick racing, anything can happen. That's why the stick guys are like, I don't care, anything can happen.
Yeah, I know.
Alex Martinez won a couple weeks ago at Florida 2K.
Yeah.
Was it Florida 2K or? What do you mean? He won a couple weeks ago. Was it Florida 2K or Anna Marie?
I think he won did he win at FL2K?
If it was FL2K.
He won the B class at
That's
FL2K?
right. That's right. And then one guy went out and then he just drove around it. It was a second. It was against Garrett Leach, but he was dead in the water. He was dead in the water, and then he just stayed in. That's stick racing. It's
It's racing in general, like you say, and it's not always the quickest car that wins, and that's always true.
Yeah, and what I try to do with the race is I try to encourage people to race mod motors. That's why I built the whole company in the first place. It's like, this is a place for us, and it would be sucky to not have a class for literally everyone. That's why I have 14 classes. We're gonna, we take every rule case by case. I mean, I get rules changes every day, and they're like, hey man, I got this little modification. It doesn't impact the weight, doesn't impact performance. I'll put it up to a rules vote, generally let it in. It happens all the time.
As a racer, I mean, it's tough if somebody, came to a driver's meeting, they were like, hey, does anybody not want him to run? I don't want to be like, no, I'm scared of that guy. I don't want him to run.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just going to be like,
on the spot.
That's a good point.
I don't want that.
No,
People do that though. Like,
for sure. Oh, it happens all the time.
It happens quite a bit, but I mean, as long as people are honest with what their setup is, we can handle it way before them showing up and, being in an illegal car.
Yeah, some exceptions need to be.
There's some gray areas, like the whole Brett LaSalla two-piece front end, deal. Like,
and
everyone knew
too.
about that, but they knew that he was showing up, and then they complained about his car. And
exactly.
I don't want to win. I don't think anyone should want to win by complaining about another car. It's racing, not winning.
Especially if it's not going to make like a significant difference. I was talking to Brett about that. We were joking. It was a couple weeks ago before FL2K, and he's like, check out what I got in store or whatever. But we were talking about the front end thing, and I was like, I get it from a rule standpoint because rules are rules, but like that was a rule that's very. It's kind of a weird rule anyways, because that's not going to help you, I guess. Maybe when those type of rules were implemented initially, that would have helped because of the available offerings, or maybe what was lighter,
Yeah, he said it was actually pretty heavy.
Yeah,
the front end.
I just didn't understand.
He actually went
that.
faster with the four pieces.
Yeah.
With four pieces.
It was funny though too, because like he was way out on people. It wasn't like it was sick week, so it's an average, and his average was like. Not like it wasn't, we're not splitting hairs here where it was like half a tenth faster. Like it was significantly better. So it's are you really going to argue from that far back? Like if you're like
hundredths
on the guy, okay, maybe,
I could win or
start to get on him for the rules a little bit. But if you're like way in the back, you just kind of have to bite the bullet and
And I think a lot of people, there's a lot of, what do they call them? Couch quarterbacks or what? There's people that talk about it. You really have to be in that scenario. I mean, I think if anybody spent the time, money, and effort, and then, like you said, if you're within a few thousandths or hundredths and you're a couple numbers off, I think the average person probably would bring it up and say, because you're that close.
Yeah.
But like you said, I mean, when you start talking tenths or something that for a fact is not going to be an impact with that, I think that's just crybaby.
I just try to look at it from a fair, pragmatic, non-biased, perspective. Just take the information in, what would someone who's not, I'm not trying to like weigh it to anyone's favor, but the optics are always there. That's why I try to put it out to the community. Like, here's the problem set that I'm in front of. What do you think? And plus, I want to promote the race. So I took that little Donald Long, piece of it of how can I stir up some trap, and then the piece of paper was pretty funny. Here's a piece of paper. Let's argue about it. Right. So I mean, it's all fun and games for me. I don't take it seriously. It's
Donald's
just good.
Done very good at that.
It's just good. It's good input for me. Right. Just to drive conversation.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited for it to be at Bradenton because I've never gone to that race, but I've always heard about how good it is, and obviously I don't go to it because I've never had a mod motor in my life. I have 2 cams and 1 cylinder head. That's close. I'm getting there.
Yeah, it's overhead. You're starting. We like you more than LS people, so I mean you're
starting.
You're
I'll put the other 2 I have in the trunk, and then I can
imagine if you had a V configuration, you would be that much better.
It'd be unstoppable at that point. So it kind of started like. Funny too, like it started avoiding the LS guys because that was where all the money was. All the LS guys were going faster, but now it's kind of like the LS guys need to avoid the mod motor guys in a way.
So Kelly and I were talking about this
kind of flipped.
We've been waiting for this moment. We've been knowing we had a superior platform for 10, 15 years now with the Terminator come out. You got a build motor, good heads.
Right.
Now you can make pretty reliable power. I think it started like the big one was the Engine Masters Challenge when the top 3 mod motors won the Engine Masters.
Kazi went out, 400-inch mod motors, and they decimated.
And then they got banned.
Yeah.
iRod banned the mod motor from it.
Yeah. And a lot of people don't know how that works, though. I'm a big engine guy.
The average horsepower.
The way that Engine Master, the EMC works is it's not about peak power. A lot of people don't know that. It's a very specific range. And Kazi and then
Mahovitz and BES with Bischoff.
Yeah, they
Bischoff.
all did. So Bischoff did like a Navigator motor with like a Sullivan intake, like off the shelf stuff.
So I'm not super familiar with this. Right. So roll it back a little bit what they're doing with the Engine Master. So
you have
to give some more context,
and then you put the engines on a dyno,
OEM block,
and you're competing basically. So there's LS engines, there's size limitations.
It used to be a huge deal. Like you would make your bread on just the Engine Masters.
Yeah.
A lot of money went into it.
So anybody can kind of.
I think it's an invite only. Like Bischoff got an invite. Kazi.
You have to submit. I believe an application.
Yeah. You get 3 runs, and it's an average. On an engine dyno.
NA motor.
Yep, NA motor. And the first year the mod motor was let in, we won top 3.
Was it a Coyote or was it
all traditional mod motor?
Okay.
5.8.
That's why people they go to the Coyote as like the awesome, and it is. But I mean the 5.4 or 4.6, they can do a lot of just parts availability is the issue right now.
So when the Coyote came out, I just got to throw this out there. It took a couple of years for them to really start going and catching on, but I got burned on the cross basically because I used to tell people, I was like, guys, like a 5.8 done right is still better than a Coyote. It's got more cubic inches, like 330 cubic inches, and the heads float over 300. I mean, a 5.8, so 20.
Is that like the GT 500 engine?
The 13 and 14 has the one with the 4 GT heads.
The 07 to 13 has the GT heads.
Yes.
Has the GT heads, but
the
the iron block.
The
5.8. The 13, 14. Yes.
That's what we always had in the Crown Vic when I was with Garrett, was that GT 500 motor.
Yeah.
So I think you had a 5.4.
It was a 5.4.
Yeah. They did iron up until midway 2010-ish.
Yeah, 2010.
They did
11, 12
block.
were aluminum. Well, 11 through 14 were aluminum.
But 13 and 14 was the Trinity, the 5.8, the really good engine. Oh. So, basically, here's how it works. The Coyote got all the good stuff. It got the compression. It got the variable cam timing.
That was a big thing, was compression.
And so if you would take the GT500 engine, though, and you bumped it up to 11-1 or 12-1,
spicy.
And then you did the bigger cams.
Spicy.
Oh, yeah. With the right... So what the mod motor was always missing was a good intake manifold.
Yep.
Took forever. And then the other thing, which is really interesting, and this is why I used to like the mod motor stuff so much, is Ford mixed things up. So they put the best block in like a Lincoln car and like an early Cobra. They put the best intake cams in the 96 to 98 Cobra, but they didn't put them in the Mach 1s and the Cobras. They did the best exhaust cams in the supercharged Cobras. They did the best heads in the later models.
I'll match you. So my GT500 motor built, makes 1,200 horsepower, has navigator arms, has 96 and 98 tensioners.
Okay.
From the Cobra.
The steel tensioners?
Yep. I have a Cobra crank sprocket from a 96 Cobra. That's not why it's called modular, but that is weird. Like, it's
like
a good
treasure
point.
hunt from
it's
Ford.
It's literally, and I made a whole list of like, people are like, what do I buy? And I'm like, it doesn't make sense, but here's the parts bin. And my timing setup costs under $200 because it's all OEM.
Yeah.
It's all.
But that's what people didn't start realizing the mod motor stuff.
Mahovitz went 6.0 at 240 mile an hour with all that stuff.
Wow.
Didn't get the billet stuff until he put the billet crank in, or the billet, the billet arms and everything else. So that was, the Engine Masters was a big one, obviously from like 2013. But the traditional mod motor, I'm not trying to shit on Coyotes because they're amazing, but we hold the record in the quarter mile, the eighth mile, the half mile, and the full mile. Maybe not that half mile, because I think Fat House took that. Maybe Bill Wagner still has
Ford
it.
GT, bad GT.
No, something
well, not bad GT,
recently,
so bad GT.
In the last couple of days, a blue GT500, a blue GT350 just went 260 or something.
Yeah, I think that
from London Chassis Dyno.
I think that one took the
But that
Coyote
might be a
one.
5.8, or is that a Coyote?
I don't know.
Chad likes those.
Yeah,
mod motors.
But the bad GT is Johnny Bomber, I think is his name.
Yeah.
That's like 3 miles it took him to do that.
Yeah, at NASA.
Yeah, and we always ask him to come out to the Texas Mile with M2K and AccuFab to do the actual mile, and he never takes it because he wouldn't run 300 mile an hour.
Well, those things are so geared to where if they are not really stretching their legs,
yeah, they couldn't keep a
turds.
the AccuFab car couldn't keep a transmission in it. They were chucking transmissions. That's how much power it was making.
out of a GT.
That of 5.4, yeah, it made 62 pounds of boost for about a minute.
Whew.
Yeah.
Gosh, that's terrifying. You're just like holding onto a rocket.
Yeah, and so what he
At
does
any
is,
time, it's a,
Please don't break. Please,
Like,
what are you even thinking besides just don't break? I think about that in the last
in the
last
7
eighth.
seconds or whatever. Yeah.
it's a lot of power, but that's why certain engine builders are better than others because they got that
them alive.
data, they got it. But so I'm hoping to see a couple 4.0 from this weekend. From a Coyote, because we haven't seen that actually happen, but we've seen GT500 traditional mod motors do it. They're starting to catch up. So just because parts availability, people are taking GT500s, chucking the motor and putting a Coyote in just because they have a range of parts to pull from.
My Ford knowledge really starts at Coyote. I know chassis knowledge, but my engine knowledge, people start talking to me about 2-valve, 4-valve.
So I mean,
that kind of stuff is just like in one ear out the other. I don't even.
So
think about
technically,
it.
the Coyote is not a mod motor.
It doesn't even fit the script because it doesn't.
So by definition, the mod motor was made at the Nietzsche assembly line, where that the 2-valve, the 3-valve, the 4-valve,
The Nietzsche.
V8, I believe it's a Nietzsche, but maybe I'm wrong. But the V8 and the V10 were all made in the same assembly line. The tooling was modular. Right?
Yeah.
They tore it down. They destroyed it.
Okay.
And the Cobra plant was built.
So wait, the Titan?
Yeah,
Was that
that's
a
mod motor.
modular?
That's right. That's right. So all those
the
motors were all.
V10 is just a longer.
That's right.
5.4. Seriously, with 2 more cylinders.
All those were considered mod motors. So that's by definition the mod motor. So Coyote was not made on the same assembly line. Ford has adopted it into the family. I have adopted because that's literally 95% of our cars are Coyotes. But that's why I say on our shirts this year it says mod motor and Coyote swap the world, because technically, it's not a. When you say Coyote, you don't say, hey, that's a nice mod motor. You say it's a nice Coyote.
Yeah.
So modular is just talking about the
tooling
The tooling
of
for
the
production.
engine production,
That's
not
so
the actual
interesting.
parts interchangeability.
So like the rods, you can put, back in 2014 when I had my blue S550, I built the motor and I used 0304 Cobra rods.
But that's not the mod motor part. The tooling of the machines.
Oh,
They're
no.
actually making it. Yeah. But people are like, oh, my LS motor can use 5.3, 5.7, 6.0. And I'm like, all right, let's get into some nerd stuff. It's the tooling of the factory.
Yeah.
Which is a stupid way to say modular, but that's literally in 1990, 91 is what they said, hey, everyone's made on the same assembly line. It's a modular assembly line.
Yeah, early 90s.
Hilariously enough.
Yeah, that is interesting.
Yeah.
So, my 2-valve, 4-valve isn't there a 3-valve too? Yeah, all that
05
stuff.
to 09.
Completely don't even pay attention to. I see like a Crown Vic motor, and I'm like, that's a mod motor, I guess.
We had a 2-valve. We had a 2-valve versus 3-valve class. And we had to kill it this year because we just not enough people showing up.
It was kind of cool for a little bit.
It was cool.
There was a couple cars in there that were pretty
building their
impressive
cars,
and stuff.
but just didn't. 4 cars, 5 cars, you can't have a class with that, you know. So we did. That's why we changed the King of the 4-valve to quarter-mile Kings, because those cars can now run in the quarter-mile class because they're not 4 valves. So King of the 4-valve doesn't make sense.
That makes sense.
We adopted them into that. But I'm a 2-valve guy at heart. If anyone knows me, I'm a diehard.
That's what I started with. 248.
We were talking camshafts the other day. He was like 278 and 270. Like those are comp cam specific part numbers. But we were beating our heads trying to make. He made 330.
330 exactly.
I made 334, and that was like.
Back then, it was a big deal.
You know 12.2 at 110.
Yeah.
It's just funny because like 4 horsepower is like a nothing number if you put it up. If like somebody made 4 horsepower than me on the dyno, I'd be like, that's like a nothing number.
You would be on Modular Depot probably talking shit. But bro, I made way more.
So you could go right now. This is funny. You can go. So back in the mod motor days when everybody was like really getting into it, we used to have all these micro records like horsepower. If you go, there's a forum called corral.net. It's a Mustang forum. Right now, it's probably still there. If you go to the dual overhead cam, 4-valve SVT section, there's like a list that shows all the horsepowers of all the NA motors ever. And I'm probably still highlighted they had we had a group of people. Todd Warren used to help me. I've been friends with him forever. We used to talk every morning about like cam specs and ported intake runner design. Well, anyways, I'm probably still on there under modular speed as having the highest powered, like SAE corrected dyno jet horsepower with a stock 4-valve. So you had to take all stock parts.
We created micro
records. So, but that's the thing. What I was getting at though is those would not make that power if I didn't use the intake cams from a junkyard Cobra.
I see why LS guys always made fun of all this.
Right. And that's why I get it.
No. LS was first.
With these micro records, though?
By far. That's
were they
where
like
I started.
a GM hot cam?
No. I'm telling you, anybody that's watching this that's in their 40s will agree. When back in ls1.com, before the LS1 tech was even around, we had records for everything. As a matter of fact, I think there was a record for a stock crank pulley instead of having an underdrive pulley.
Yikes.
There was whisper lids and free mods and the fastest stock cams.
I do remember the whisper lid.
We had 19
mods.
Lists on that website.
Yeah.
And I used to do that. I used to do F-body racing and stuff, and it was fastest.
And you can't trust anything in LS person anyway. When they say cam only, you know there's a nitrous bottle in the door. There's a turbo somewhere. I mean,
it was pretty competitive though. Donald McGoy, he was one of the guys back in the Dallas area. That's where I'm from. He's probably, back then he had an anniversary 02 SS Camaro with a Yank 4200, whatever. But I mean, back then he was going 1050s at like
full race car.
It was, but that was a cam only setup, and it was legitimate cam only 4L60E with a converter, stuff like that. So I will say though, it took the Ford stuff a long time to catch up to that 346 cubic inch LS stuff. I mean, when those came out, they were RPM, game over.
RPM. But yeah, it's nice not to have to change cams in the Coyote. That's a huge, unopened 1,000 horsepower, 850 or 880. Like, it's easy. There's a recipe for
That's some real cheatered up stuff that you don't even have to open those things, and they'll make over
my
1,000.
GT500, I'm on my second GT500 that makes 1,200.
I get mad at kids. They're like, oh, I'm only making 800 horsepower. And I'm just like, I'd be on my 4th motor by now trying to get that. Yeah. Like it's easy. It's too easy. And we see it at the races. I mean, FL2K was Mod Nationals light. It's 50 damn cars out there,
That's true.
It's crazy the amount of like Mustangs. Like you don't see Camaros anymore really.
Right.
I mean, you don't see
So I never really went to FL2K because it was, just being honest, it was like import, like I've been here since the beginning, going to those races since they started. And Victor, I could tell you a bunch of cool stuff from the previous races. And I really just never was into all the cars. I've always been so much into Mustangs and stuff, and domestic in general. But for the first couple of years, I mean, that was a very, very import. like my first years remembering that race where GTR's bogging. Like the GT500s do now.
Yeah.
The DCT stuff.
It's kind of like
that's
the
what
evolution.
I remember as FL2K.
Yeah.
Supra's bogging and GTR's bogging.
The Texas 2K started with just Supras, and now it's GTR Nationals.
Yep.
You know, like it's kind of like
And
an
now
evolution.
they've pushed them all out, and they have GTR World Cup.
Yeah.
That now became DCT World Cup at Bradenton,
Yeah.
which is a good deal for them. Kind of,
Get them
if you
out.
can't run a 400 Pro Tree,
Yes.
Yeah.
you're not on the right place.
I'd be out there selling
basically.
axles.
Right?
They'd make a big business.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, then there's like, because the GTRs go down the perfect bald spots every time because they all take up the rubber from that same spot because they run like a slick with like a
Yeah.
radial in the front, all kinds of weird stuff.
And like 4 different pressures. Like, I mean, it's
And we were saying the same thing about Mod Nationals, you know, because everyone has the same wheelbase, and they're literally ripping up the same.
Yeah.
You know, so when it comes to racing, you need to know more than just going straight on a fast.
Yeah,
you know,
that's
that
true.
that groove is nice.
they're all
That
like
groove
107-inch wheelbases.
that
basically.
groove is going to mess you up because you're going to be hitting the same spot.
Yeah.
So you need to, you know, there's more to racing than going
trick to
phase.
BMP, if you haven't been, Wade preps side to side.
Yeah.
Don't just go in the groove.
Yeah.
Yeah, I tell people that all
Yeah, but they
the time.
they see that line. They're like, I got to be in the middle.
Yeah, you gotta
I'm
get
like,
in the groove, and it's like get a little bit of the fresh. You don't have to go all the way over either. Just get a little bit of the fresh.
We had we've had TJ and Wade a couple times at prior races, like telling the guy like, hey, right here, like just during like qualifying, whatever, you know, we want good runs, but you know, honestly, like 80% of racing's not going fast. It's staging. It's you know, hitting the spot. You know, if you're actually doing eliminations, you know, knowing the other racer, you know, let them go in, let them burn themselves down, wait 6.5 seconds.
I mean,
all those things come into factor.
If you sign up for enough races and your car can make it to every round, you're going to eventually win.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's usually my move. If you have a car that can make it to every round and not break or spin the tires.
Yeah.
People say it's luck, but I'm like, it's opportunity and preparation. That's it. That's luck.
Yeah, they
you
just
know?
meet.
That's it. I mean, everyone's like, oh, it's lucky. I'm like, you know, I've been saying that my whole life, but it's
Right,
you got to
agree with
prepare yourself and give yourself the opportunity, and then things are going to happen for you. But if you don't show up, so there's some racers that don't show up because it's a big hitter in the class. And oftentimes that big hitter breaks, and oftentimes that big hitter doesn't make the rounds because it's
That was FL2K.
Yeah,
I mean, Danny Coots,
Oh.
number 1 qualifier.
Yeah.
He was lighting the world on
Flying.
fire.
Yeah.
680, 680, 680.
Yeah,
and
first
then,
round. Yep.
You know, his last round of qualifier, the motor said no more.
Yeah.
It had enough of those.
Yep.
And that's how it goes sometimes.
Yeah.
It's kind of just racing is like that. I know you guys have. There's not many in that top tier class that run other than Coyote, though, right? I know Brian Cummins, right? Is that?
Yeah, so we have a good mix of the traditional mod motor guys.
Because I feel like people are thinking like the top fastest guys on property are all going to be Coyotes.
Yeah, there's a nice mix of traditional and Coyote. I think it's more Coyote than it is traditional, just by proxy, just because of the evolution of it. But
It's more every year.
But
it's
it's every year it's getting harder to find parts.
Yeah.
And then people, you know, are just going that route. But
Yeah, what does he have in that thing? He's got a still GT500 engine and a 5.8.
Yeah, he's one of my favorite cars. I think it's a 5.4 still.
5.4?
Yeah,
I like that
he's
car
on
a
the
lot.
shirt this year. I'm like, I've been wanting to put him on the shirt for a while. That thing is gorgeous.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's got a traditional mod motor in there, and hoping for him to do good. That class should be really fast. But I had to get rid of a couple of the killers. So that's why I made the Extreme 28 such a big payout, because we had some guys run 630s against guys that are run 7.0s. So I got rid of them, you know, and they all agreed. And they're like, okay, got it. You know, put firewall
big of a
issue
gap
or
in a
whatever.
small class.
And then everyone's got their own little subclass, you know, to run, because it's not fair having a 790 car run against a 7.0 car either. You know, there's like groups of like 680 to 730, which is what the elite class is, and a 740 to 780. There's a big tranche, and there's people that have shown up for 7 years in a row and never have won and raced against 2-second faster cars and never even complained. And I'm like, that's not right.
Yeah.
You know, let's get you your little subclass, give you a good payout, and now you can go beat up on each other within 2/10, 3/10 of each other.
So do you do? I haven't seen this, but it would be kind of interesting in this aspect. But like a builders championship. So like, you know, in the all blower class, if the top couple are VMP versus like somebody else, like the builder can get the trophy, or like the top class like fast forward race engine are probably half the class. TKM is probably the other half.
I mean, I think that's a great idea.
You get like a
I've
Builder
always
trophy.
my nationals is an internet race. I mean, people go there for internet bragging rights. So
that's it.
It could be. I mean, I like all the companies you mentioned, but as long as it doesn't put me in a pickle between picking, like, oh man, like Whipple won a couple times, but VMP's won a couple times. I don't want to be like, oh, VMP won this year, and
it almost needs to be like
Whipple,
a top of the blower class, like X amount of people
like
qualified.
the higher
top
percentage.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm all about. I mean, this is.
Because the blower class could work like that pretty well because there's a good amount of different blowers, and I like Justin Starkey a lot. He's a great dude. The VMP stuff's really cool.
Yeah.
I don't know much about the Whipple stuff. I know they have a pretty big one right now.
Yeah, they bring a lot of people. Yeah, so they have a big army called them the Whipple Army.
Didn't they just drop like a 5.6 liter Whipple or something?
Yeah, people were trying to put them on their mod motor. I'm like,
Yeah.
Bigger than the motor?
Yeah, why?
I was one of the earlier the VMP guys. Sorry to interrupt.
No, it's fine.
But I had one of the first blowers that Starkey released for the 0304 Cobras back in my 0304
Blue
Cobra
balls,
days.
right?
No, on my Cobras.
Oh, okay.
0304 Cobra. Before the Coyotes.
Oh yeah.
And so I had that. It was a good performer, and then on my S550, I hate saying I was the first, but I got the car and just started. I mean, he can vouch. I mean, everybody remembers this car. I got it with the point of I'm gonna make it a race car, kind of like street race car. And so I got it, and I drove to Starkey's place when he used to operate out of his garage, and we test fitted an 11 to 14 blower on my 15. And as soon as I saw that it fit the engine, I was like, done, let's do it. So within a month, I had a S550 with a S197 VMP 2.3, the 2.3 TVS. And I ended up going 8s with that. I still don't think many people have done that. I mean, 8s isn't fast anymore.
No,
as far as the internet is.
That was fast back
But I
then.
went on a stock kit. I went at 8.9 at 154 at 3,900 pounds with a 6R80 foot braking with a 2.3 TVS, not a 265.
Weekend deals where it takes a weekend to put on.
Yeah.
Not like some crazy deal where you had to cut up the car or anything, because that's what's nice about the blower stuff.
Yeah, I used to drive to the track.
Go right on.
Too, you know,
And you can't go wrong with any of the solutions out there. I mean, back in the day, it used to be like Vortec, or Paxton,
Now they're all
high quality.
So nice.
I mean, ProCharger, Whipple, VMP, they're all. Edelbrock has some, Akins have some. Like they're just all really high quality. If you want to make 900 horsepower and break your motor, you can do that. It'll
with
provide,
any of it.
Yeah,
even
with even the small ones. Even the small ones, you'll break your motor. So it's back in the day, you had to like D1X or D1, big blower.
Then you made 50 more horsepower. You had to call ProCharger, be like, I got to make 50 more. Like now,
you had a
there's
cog
low
drive.
9-second cars driving around on the street like P1 superchargers.
Something they had back in the day was King of the Streets. Remember that magazine where they had like Eric from ProCharger had a cog drive SN95 and like it made 750 horsepower, and I was like, what the fuck?
Eric's awesome. I know him pretty well.
Yeah, that was wild, and he's a obviously really good R&D and good asset.
They already have one out for the new car.
Exactly.
I couldn't believe that.
They were
I saw
on
them
it.
announce it. I was like, damn.
But I love the competition. That's what the cool thing about it is when you have products like that coming out quick that forces other people to be like innovation. That's what we need in this community. And that's what I try to do is provide you either the marketing or the race to do it at. If you want to break a record, just come down. I mean, we have the S650 coming down from JPC, coming down to do something.
Well, it makes sense to do R&D on the Mustang stuff because there's so many and people are actually buying them. It just doesn't seem to make sense to do R&D on a C8.
Yeah.
It just doesn't seem to make sense.
I've contemplated buying one so many times, but it's like there's opportunity costs involved. I mean, it's you look at. I'll give you an example. I took forever to buy F-150s, and I bought a handful of them to develop parts on, and now that's huge for my business. But C8s, I get guys messaging me, and I'm thinking, if they're still marked up, they're still expensive cars. If I go spend $70,000 on one and I sell 4 kits a year, I'm gonna be like, man, I could have.
But you have to justify $20,000 for a supercharger kit for a C8. And I'm like, we call it Ferrari. FAUX, Ferrari, like that's a Ferrari price, it's like the tax. I'm like, it's a $70,000, $80,000 car, and you have a 20, what is that, fourth of the cost is for a blower? Yikes.
Yeah.
Well, I was there on the launch of the C8, and the first thing I asked them was like, how do you change the belt? Because it's not an easy spot. And they go, it's a forever belt. And I go, that's not a good supercharger car then. Because you sling belts, you go through belts on a supercharger. I'm like, you can't tell
if
me
you
it's
ever
a
go to
belt.
a blower trailer, they open the door and there's belts.
Oh, you should see my garage.
Yeah, belts everywhere.
I've got tensioners and belts.
One belt
people
per
are like,
pass.
bro, that's like $1,000 in belts. I'm like, no, 2,000.
And then you see the belt chuck, during the run, like, it's okay.
Yeah.
Just put a new belt on.
Yeah, that is the one thing.
Buy
I'm
some stocking
a
case.
stubborn blower guy. I just like them. I think they're cool.
I think the Wii factor is.
I'm a street car guy.
For a street car, they're way better.
Love
they're
it.
just so good.
I mean,
Just that fun
we talk
factor.
about Brett LaSalla.
Yeah.
If he watches this or whatever, back when I had blue balls, I'm like, no turbo car can beat me.
Yeah.
He's running low 8s, world's fastest 6R80, and I love Brett. We've been friends a long time.
But that's that ribbon we need.
But I would come out on my 2.3 TVS, and we would race, and we'd race 12 times in a row. I'd have coolant spitting on my windshield because my intake temps are 200 degrees. And I would beat him every time until maybe one or two races. He would be right there with me.
Mm-hmm.
I've got it on film. It was fun, friendly stuff. It wasn't but my point is here we got a caged 6R80 turbo car, CPR turbo built. And then, I'm in my 3,900 pound. I was on HRE 20s too, not even on my drag pack.
Yeah.
And you get on the street, man, and the blowers just work.
Yeah, it's an equalizer.
Well, he's got a blower. I think he's still got that other car that he has. He has that classic.
Yeah,
that thing
has a Whipple on it. Yeah, it's a really nice car.
That thing is
Gorgeous.
badass, yeah.
That's why you can't have fast friends.
Yeah.
I want my friends to be slow. I got fast friends. I'm like, you want to ride my car? I'm like, no, absolutely not. I will not ride in any car that's better than mine because I want that.
Yeah, I kind of feel the same way when I
You get opportunities to ride in all sorts of cars. I would be like, nope.
I got an opportunity to drive something fast down the track, and I was like, no, it's gonna ruin my car. I'm
saying prospectively. Let's, I like what I like. If I have the money to buy it, then I'll ride in it. But I get jealous, and then good jealous, But I'm like, God, that's a nice car.
Yeah,
let's budget for this, babe.
That's the problem. But I think people don't realize how good a blower is on the street car. Because I got a CTS V wagon. It's the perfect street car.
You?
Yeah, perfect street car.
Is it a manual?
It is not. Oh my God. But
I like
the
a
auto.
V2.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I like the
auto.
auto.
You had that.
I had no idea.
I actually
oh my God, that's one of my favorite cars.
I love those cars.
It
And I
only
do a
has
lot of business with
55K
those,
miles
too.
on it. It doesn't drive that much.
Okay.
I drive it to Cars and Coffee. Is pretty
I
much
love me
it.
a
those
wagon.
cars, man.
Love me a wagon.
That's cool.
It's a fun car. I just love the blower noise. It's always
And it's
Has
heavy,
it got the
man.
small?
Heavy
Has it
cars.
got the small one on there?
It's a 1.9.
So it's the one they make the
Because then on the new C7 after that they came out with a 1.7, and then
yeah, that's right.
and then it was a 2.3 for the what is it, the ZR1.
ZR1.
Yeah,
And
but those
then-
are like 250 grand still, which is insane.
Yeah.
They're probably the best Corvette ever, but they're so expensive that
They're
it makes you
unobtainable.
think, is it just better to get a Lamborghini?
Yeah.
Right.
Probably.
Wait, are you talking about the C7?
Yeah, the
No.
C7 ZR1.
Oh no,
it's
that's a 265.
2650,
isn't it?
yeah, you're right. Yep.
Yeah.
Big
But
blow.
yes, that is there's an orange one right now that a friend of mine keeps messaging me for sale down in South Florida. He's like, come get this thing, and I'm like, but you're right. They're so expensive that you start looking at Vipers. I mean, a Gen 5 Viper is a bucket list car for me. And I mean, I made a Facebook post earlier. I was like, buy this trailer on a couple acres or a twin turbo Calvo Motorsports built Viper, and 200 grand.
Yeah,
or
first
whatever.
world problems. But yeah, it's
You know?
once you start getting up to that domestic. That's what the new Mustang came out, and it was $300,000.
GTD,
And
yeah.
I'm like, great, it's gonna sit in a museum,
Right.
Yep.
And it's so. I mean, I'm sure it does great at the ring, but we don't have the ring in America, and no one's going to race it to that level. So you're just going to see it at Cars and Coffee or in some museum. Like, I want Ford to make an attainable,
That's what I
affordable
was-
car that we all can buy that are going to be a Sebring and Firm and everywhere else. So, they're like, it should compete with the GT3. And I'm like, yeah, but there's going to be so many more GT3s available that you could buy a
Exactly.
GT3. You're not going to be able to buy this
Yes.
GTD.
I'm actually really disappointed. I'm a big Ford guy. I'm
Yeah.
disappointed
They missed
in
the
that
mark
car.
on that. Yeah.
And here's why. I really like GT500s. I think they're awesome. But I don't like how what they really should have done is they should have taken the top of the line GT500 and then put carbon brakes on it, put carbon seats in it, and then made it that ZR1-ish car. But they didn't. They had a
cut
base
as much
one.
weight out of it as possible.
Yeah, they should have done something that met in the middle, but instead they had a base GT500, a carbon, and then a GTD. You know for fact, if Ford would have come out with a $150,000 GT500 with carbon brakes and stuff,
done. Yeah,
they couldn't keep up with them. I mean, look at all the other markets, the cars they couldn't keep up with all the markups.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I don't understand
Yeah,
why
and the people that
didn't.
are going to buy that GT3 are not going to cross shop the GTD. You know, that's what people are saying. You're going to cross shop the two cars. You're not, because I have one and I would never buy a GTD. Like, not that they're different.
Right.
$150,000. Okay, now we're talking.
Yes.
You know, now we're talking. That's a Z06, C8, Z06 competitor in my opinion.
I think that current GT500 is always going to be something special. I think they did something really right on that, because I got to spend a week with one when I did Rocky Mountain Race Week. Justin Starkey just said, hey, take this one and go race it. And I got to spend a whole week with it.
I would never do that. That's.
Was it, what color?
It was an orange one. It was
orange. It's a street car.
It was a while ago. It was Joker's
a couple years ago, right?
Yeah.
Or something?
Yeah,
okay.
And I
got to
to
drive it and stuff?
Yeah, I spent a whole week driving
They're
this on
awesome
Rocky Mountain
cars,
Race Week.
Yeah.
That car is so good. I will always say that car is like a special vehicle.
I'm on my second, man. I love it. If you ever want to do something, mine's pretty wicked, though.
Ask me for a ride.
Yeah.
Not doing it.
They're fairly heavy, though, too, right?
Yeah, so
4,000
at Mod
pounds.
Nats last year, my car trapped 164, and it weighed in at 4180. And I had carbon seats in it. The orange one? Yeah, I had carbon seats in it and a drag pack.
Stock motor?
Basic, yeah.
Stock motor? Yeah, 164 with a stock motor.
At
41.
4,180 pounds.
With the blower. Not even turbo, so you're losing a little
I was
horsepower.
out dragging it before and after the event. I mean, I was just having fun because it was like 40-something degrees out, you know?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, and you know you can beat on that thing internally. That when I was on Rocky Mountain Race Week with it, I was in a nice car and everybody else was in race cars. So, you know, we're driving down like through Kansas where it's like 100 miles on one route. I'd go down, I'd come back, I'd get behind him again, I'd go around, go down. I was just doing laps, like kind of just keeping up with them, and it was
smile on your face.
it was
I'm sure
great.
it's good.
So
That
did
car's
you
so good.
drag race it?
Yeah, I drag raced it the whole time.
Did you do the track with manual, or did you just let it do its thing?
I did a couple different ways.
Okay.
It wasn't super fast because it was fairly new at the time, I think, and we were also at 10,000 feet altitude at one of the tracks, so it was gutless at that point. Like it was.
Yeah.
And I think the tuning was still fairly new on it.
Yeah.
It wasn't even on ethanol at the time. It was just on.
Okay, so you just had fun. Yeah, I see what you're saying.
And it had what is it? You add the little additives in there. Boostane, was that?
Yeah, Boostane.
Yeah, that's what I was adding into there. It was simple.
It
I had
works.
a case of that.
It works.
Yeah.
It'll
And
take
anytime I went to
knockaway and
race
stuff.
it,
Yeah.
Boostane's phenomenal.
poured some Boostane in there and kept going. I was like, this is easy.
Yeah.
That's
This is
pretty
way
cool.
better than my junk.
That's pretty cool. That class is going to be probably pretty good.
Oh, it's going to be huge. We
At
have
this track, I mean, that's going to be.
We have two classes. Both payouts are $4,000 a piece. So that's $8,000 just in the winners. Not even considering. So that's actually $10,000 because the runner-ups are also getting pretty good.
For
money.
just GT500?
Yeah, $10,000 for a class.
Oh,
just
wow.
in payouts. Yeah, I mean, that class should be big.
Yeah,
You know,
especially since it's here too.
yeah, it's
because there's a
subdivided
lot
into,
of
like-
GT500s in this state
Yeah.
of Florida.
What
Like,
is
this
it? Palm Beach Dyno has a bunch of them.
Yeah,
right?
they're going to be there.
Coastal.
Coastal. I mean,
Coastal, yeah.
There's
that blue one I always see racing. Like that, he's probably got more laps on that thing than anyone. I don't know if it's from one of those, either Palm Beach or from.
he's the one that wrecked. Yeah,
Did it?
Yeah,
Oh.
I think so.
he built it and turboed it. Ken Palm Beach Dyno. He
Yeah.
wrecked it at TX2K, I believe.
Maybe.
If that's the same blue one, yeah, that sucks.
It has to
Yeah.
be. I mean, that car definitely had more. I mean, it
So
went
many
through
laps
dope
on that thing.
and so many different combos.
Yeah,
So it's unfortunate, but yeah. So
it should be a big class.
yeah, there's going to be a lot there. I'm going to try to race mine. I mean, mine's a competitor, but it's just hard right now.
Yeah.
And I talked to Justin about it. I'm like, I don't know with, we talked about it earlier. I'm a one-person band, right? So now I'm sponsoring a race as a one-person company. I'm going to be dealing with customers. I had to get banners made. I had to get new shirts. I had to get enough materials, all this stuff just to make it to the race. And then I got multiple cars. I got a S650 the new one that I'm doing, like documenting like stuff on.
You need to multiply yourself.
Yeah,
There's nothing worse than when you go to a race and the booth is empty, you know,
Yeah.
because they're racing it or they're messing with their
And
own
I don't
car
want that to happen.
and not
I told
helping a
him.
customer.
That
So I
makes
mean, the
sense.
optics are. We talked about it for a while. I mean,
Yeah.
you know, it's a tough pickle to be in.
It is,
you know,
especially when I got a car that my black GT500 is. I'm telling you, like it's a competitor for the ultimate for the
the
for
pro
the big
class.
for the
Yeah,
pro
the pro
class.
class,
It's
yeah.
a competitor. Like it could win it. So it hurts me not because last year I went to the finals in that class.
and it
Well,
proves
I'll
that
be there Sunday if you need a driver.
There you go.
I have
We
a
may
lot of
have to work this
experience.
out.
I mean, a stunt driver is always good.
Yeah,
you know?
I'll film a whole video on it too.
But you got to do a qualifying pass in the car during elimination. So you have to. That's the rule. If you're going to go
Okay.
to eliminations, you have to do one qualifying pass, fill out a tech card, and then we've had that before where we had stunt drivers come in, and
I remember that, yeah.
So not trying to get any
I
drama.
remember
I mean,
that.
it's not like I'm some expert cheated up driver here.
Yeah,
I don't think.
they would know it. Why is Cooper in the car? You
Yeah.
weren't here yesterday.
Do you run those things on a 400 tree or do you run them on a
500,
Sportsman?
500.
Okay,
Yeah,
that makes sense
because-
because you kind of have to.
Yeah, I mean Sam from Coastal's like, hey, next year don't do that. Yes, sir. You know, it's like no one's gonna get like 300 on the tree,
Yeah, right.
400 on the tree. So I'm like, that's the only one we're
Right.
gonna have a 500.
Yeah, that would give me no advantage. I would be more thrown off
Yeah,
if I
You see it?
If I showed up on a 500, I'd probably go red. Like I wouldn't even know what I'm
It
doing.
is. It is. That's one of the. It is challenging. It's like, oh wait, what? Like,
yeah, that's why it's anyone's because he wasn't the fastest, quickest car last year at all by no stretch.
No.
But everyone broke or everyone red
Yeah.
lit or everyone didn't go.
Yeah.
That's why you just show up and see what happens.
I will say it was pretty tight though. I went a 9.0, and I think the fastest pass last year was at 8:89 or something. Ken in a black car, I think. But that's what was cool though. To be honest, if you think back about last year, there was a whole bunch of cars in that 930 to 880 range.
Yep.
And when you talk that close of a range with those cars, it's anybody's race.
Yeah.
Between the bogging and the shifting
Well,
and the delay and the launch and everything.
I'll also say, like, I don't think most of our racers are pro racers, so turning the car over between rounds, that's a lot of work.
Yeah.
Like you need to have a team together.
Well, those cars will heat soak pretty
Yeah.
good too, so
Yes.
that'll shave a lot of time off
Yeah.
of a car if you can't cool it down in between rounds because you didn't expect to be in the third round.
tire
with your GT500.
pressure.
Exactly. Yeah.
There's a lot of that's usually that's why we do team parking. I don't know if you've seen the
Yeah.
amount of work I do with team parking, but that's why I want all the teams to be pitted together because when it comes to going rounds, all hands on deck. I don't want 500 people spread out a mile.
I love the team parking thing, man. That is just the best. I mean, you got your MSR camp and they're 15 cars and they're all in this section. They're all in the same mind frame. They're not searching around for each other.
Yeah.
It's the team parking is awesome.
It's a pain in the ass because there's always one at the last minute like, hey, I want to be a part of that team, and I'm like, now we got to move.
I've done
72
that before.
people down.
Justin, man, I really need to be with this person. Like,
So we have probably 70 racers on asphalt. We only have 28 asphalt spots. We have 70 people that are like, and I'm like, hey, you want asphalt? Cool. You need like MSR. All of them are on 4 spots.
Yep.
And we have trail overflow. You can go dump your trailer, but I mean, I'm not going to give you 12 spots. That's not fair.
Yeah. So MSR is the team Brett and Jim and those guys that I usually race with, and that's a big team of people.
Yeah.
And I always say
Michael
that
Chambly, they're all.
Yeah, we have the Minion camp, and the local, Yandro and Alex and those
will that
guys.
car be back?
Yeah,
You should know.
I don't know, man.
I saw some light trolling that
I did
seemed
too.
like I don't know if I believe it from
Yeah.
Yandro.
I
I
don't
mean,
We
I
need
know,
to see
I
that
know
car.
him for a long time
we need to
because
see that car.
there was the rivalry of when I was with Garrett and the Minion.
You want to talk about PRI? How we met?
Yeah, we met with we were with Yandro and
Garrett was
who
there.
was the tuner of that car? He was there too.
Josh Levin?
Yeah,
Josh
Levin.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh,
and we
man, I go way back with Josh.
that's where we were like drinking and we're like, we need to see this race. We need to see the fastest mod motor stick and the fastest LS stick. Because that's all we care about.
Who met? What? Who?
At PRI, we all met.
Yeah, and then they end up
Like
racing like that
2018
next
or
year, and
something.
then I think Andrew red lit or he spun the tire. Anyway, we lost the next
I think-
when they actually raced, and I'm like, God damn it.
I think I met you actually. I was with BMR, and we were at a G-Force party, where they were Pabst Blue Ribbon or something.
That would make
and
sense.
I think that you guys came in, and you were looking for an anti-roll bar for a Lincoln or something, and I was like, yeah, we can do it.
Interesting. I don't know if that one was me. I have a bunch of BMR stuff on my Camaro. I have a BMRK member and stuff.
You guys were messing with some type of different car, and I was like, oh, we could do an anti-roll bar for it. And I'm pretty sure you were there. I think, but it was PRI. That's why I'm saying it's interesting that's when it was probably 18 too, actually.
Yeah, PRI I usually avoid. It's been some damaging years for me there.
We have that's so after Montnats, that's our just relaxing time. We'll go to Brothers and pretty much buy whatever we want for all the mob. Any mob motor guy, go to Brothers, we'll buy drinks for everybody. For us, it's just a nice relief. But when I saw you, I was like, man, we got to make this race happen. And Yandro was doing something special, and then he went to chassis jail,
Chassis jail will get you.
And then when you're in chassis jail, you start thinking about other things you could spend your money on and your time, and you start having more time to think about boats and, whatever, And
it's easy to lose motivation on a race car.
And he's kept it somehow. So yeah, I think he's going to try to be there. I can't commit to it, but there's a concerted effort.
Yeah. So and his class has gotten really fast too, which is another easy way to lose motivation when your class walks a second away from you.
Yeah, I was just
stick shift class
is
insane.
I was watching Yandro at Lakeland Drag Strip a handful of years ago with like a Century blower on his yellow.
Man, that dates you because that track isn't even.
Yeah, no,
I think around
Amazon
anymore.
bought it, but I was literally at these stick shift shootouts, and Yandro would be there in a stock motor with a blower with like a 50 shot, and I turn around and he's got this big, huge mod motor with like fancy clutch stuff and all, and he's going fast, and I'm like, and then he set some type of record, and then like you said,
he went 880s, and then he went 840 or 830.
Okay.
Because there was that one Mustang that was famous on the internet.
But then everybody got really fast because it was only a handful of years ago. Like even the grubworm and stuff, they were all right
second
there.
and a half. Yeah, he went. Yeah.
I think it's clutch technology. Clutch technology.
A lot of it is clutch with the slipper clutch because a company basically that makes like pro stock clutches where they just like slip perfectly.
Black Magic.
Yeah.
Okay. Is that who they're all using?
Some variation of that technology where you add weights and it basically
adjustable.
It basically turns it into a converter at that point, and then it's just a turbo 400 because you're just kind of like you're not even hitting the clutch anymore. Yeah. So you're just grabbing the next gear.
It's all about slip. That's with my suspension stuff.
Yeah.
The stick guys come to me, what do I do? And I'm like, well, you're bogging, you're spinning. I'm like, you need clutch slip. And they're like, what's that? And I'm like, well, I mean, because if you don't have clutch slip, then you need wheel speed. Well, and so, but that's why I think that stick class, I mean, it got out of hand.
I love stick guys. I mean, and I talked to Joel Steele a bunch of times and Robert, and we're trying to figure out how to get people more energized in this crazy community.
Those cars are awesome to watch.
I think the biggest concern I have is I have a stick GT500. People go in drag race, and I'm like, that's a $2,500 clutch.
Yes.
On a 4,000 pound car, like that's expensive
and
for anybody.
Easy to burn it up.
It's easy to burn it up, and so there's efforts now within the community to figure out how to lower that price of whatever it is, and I'm sure it's worth it to something more reasonable price where you can swap it out at a much cheaper rate.
That's my hesitation for stick cars.
I can buy a badass converter for $2,000. Maybe not a bill of bolt together deal, but a nice one. A nice serviceable converter. So that's the problem set. That's what we have to figure out is how to lower that price, because a lot of people are trying to figure out how to keep racing.
1,000 horsepower these days that doesn't impress people. I hate to say that,
we're jaded.
But 1,000 horsepower. The transmissions and the clutches just don't hold up. So you're right. And that's why, again, going back to the GT500, I can't push it enough. I love the fact that it's a DCT, that it doesn't need a clutch, it doesn't need belts. I mean, that's where when you said they did something special with that car, I totally agree, because you don't have to touch anything. You just add boost and fuel. But with the clutch in that car, can you imagine if I'm making 1,200 at the wheels with a 4,200 pound car and just trying to set the world on fire, be going through a clutch every month?
But that's what the internet wants. You need a real man pedal in there. You row that gear. I like winning races. But so I mean, there's a special subset. I kind of like. I love the driver mod stick shift guys because they're special, you know,
Yes.
because they're a close group of people of,
They're special, for
you know,
sure.
I don't want to call them like a derogatory, but they're a bunch of degenerates that just, you know, don't know better, you know, but we need those people.
It's a special kind of enjoying the punishment.
Yeah.
That you have to be a glutton. Prepared for. Yeah.
You know, it's just like the 6R80 with the ones, like you're going to bring out 3 transmissions. You're probably going to swap out all of them.
The first time I really realized like, Joel is about Grubworm, Tick, those guys. I was like, oh, these guys are about it. Was in between rounds at World Cup one year, I walked by their pit, and his dad has the clutch disc in his hand, and he's got a rock, and he's adding some grip to it.
Oh my God.
I was like, oh, okay.
It probably glazed over.
Yeah.
And then,
so they're just scuffing it in with like a rock.
Roughing it up.
I was like, all right.
From your perspective, that's why I like promoting races, because I see how real racers do it, and I'm like, you know, I'd rather just support you guys because I'm not that type of racer. You know, Jim Brown was under his car doing his differential at FL2K with a smile, swapping out Brett's engine at the Freedom Factory. I'm like, they were happy.
Yeah, and that's why I like to just put a microphone in front of them and talk to them.
I would be crying. I was like,
No, Ken makes fun of me all the time because I'm like, if I break at a race, like car's going in the trailer.
Yeah,
I'm not that guy that's like, I had a customer just break
air pressure
at the race that's going on the drive down here. He's like, damn, you know, we were trying to get a better 60-foot time, so he sent it and he broke the diff. And I'm like, sucks, man. And he's like, oh no, I got another one on the way. And I'm like,
yeah,
all right.
Yeah, we have a lot of dedicated modular guys.
If it's a multi-day race, I can see that.
Yeah.
But if it's like a one-day streetcar takeover or something, I'm like, no shot, because it doesn't make sense.
Right.
Like, I'm putting that thing back on the trailer. Somebody asked me one year at TX2K and, you know, final qualifying, I hurt the trans, and they're like, where do you keep your spare one? I'm like, spare trans?
Yeah.
What do you think I am doing here? I got an open trailer, man. What do you mean?
It's in the back of the truck. Yeah, that's
so I'm like, I'm out. Like, it's going on the trailer. Help me push.
To this dedication.
There is.
Yeah.
There's definitely.
But even like most of these guys are keeping a spare trans with them. You see, unless you're stick shift, but you see how much these Turbo 400s cost is insane.
Insanity. Everything these days. But yes, some of those things like, my customers are like, oh, I'm going to this transmission. And I'm like, oh, cool. What made you do that? Oh, I'm tired of braking, whatever. It's the best $14,000 I've spent. And I'm going, oh, man.
Yeah, and it'll probably still break at some point.
Right. Well, I was talking to a customer the other day with the 6R80, and he's on his third one, I think he said, and he's over 16,000 into a 6R80. He showed me the numbers.
Yes.
Man.
With the converters and getting this app and then get new billet parts and the case breaking and all this, and I'm like, think about that. Seriously, like if you're doing 6R80 stuff, you're a micro record guy, first of all, because you would have just gone straight to a real trans. Right? I'm not trying to insult anybody.
For 16,
this,
you can put.
But I'm saying, like, if you're sticking through with a 6R80 transmission for that long, it's just like the stick guys you just said.
Yeah,
you're insane.
But we need special people. I'm going to just use the word special. You know, that are willing to push each.
Oh yeah.
Capability.
Well, that's how
we don't have the ones, you know, with their innovation. Brett back in the day when he did 6R80, like that's special. We need Mahovitzes that are willing to do 60 psi for a minute.
Right.
And you know, that's insane. But we need these people that have the right programs, not just the money, but like we said, like there's a lot of people that have put a lot of money in their cars that have never achieved the same level of success that other people have with the same amount of money. Like when I look at people, I'm like, do you have a good program? And program means headspace. Do they have the right you know, mindset of the right people in your corner? You're not asking the internet for information. You trust the people that you have empowered, and you have a good, you know,
I think
process
there's also
going forward.
Like I see a lot of people that won't just stay the course. Like, you know, they'll put a setup in their car, 4 passes, it didn't do exactly what they wanted.
Swap it out.
Suddenly it's a different setup. Another 4 passes, suddenly it's different. I'm like, if you just stayed the course 2 setups ago, you could have already achieved all of your goals.
We were just talking about this the other day.
You just got to stay the course a little bit, and like
that's actually the biggest problem I see.
Yeah.
I mean, turbos from everything. Like, I mean, you see it with like guys are like, oh, well, they'll go from singles to twins, and then the converter has to be changed. Like, I think that they don't understand that it's a whole combination. So like they change what you're talking about, and then it's a rabbit hole.
Yeah, it's a ripple effect.
Yeah,
it's going to change.
Everything has to change. The gear ratio has to be different. It's the whole car has to be changed. But I think that's a big problem is people don't stick with it.
Yeah, you just got to stick with it.
Yeah.
A tuner, if you like him, stick with him. Like
Yeah.
that kind of stuff. Just stay the course. I was talking to a No Time guy the other day. And it's a Coyote car. It's a local fast one. And he told me in 5 days they did 28 stator changes in the converter and 3 different converters to try to get it right. I was like, you're wild, man. That is way above what I would. That's determination.
Mm-hmm.
And they finally got it somewhat working where they were happy. But, man, that's determination. He's like, I went through $1,000 in lap fluid. Because just in trans fluid.
Like I can't even.
I'm glad they exist because I wouldn't have a race.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of people that are like that are making the race, and
Yeah.
it's I commend them. I work hard because they work hard.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, that's when they win or they compete really high. That's they're gonna feel good about that.
And it's a fast Coyote No Time car.
Yeah.
It's a
Is
quick
that,
one.
is
If
that
it's a
car
local one.
Is that car going to be at the Mod Nats?
I don't know. I don't.
I would hope so, right?
I think. I don't know.
Is it
I mean, I
red
have
one?
the list on me.
It's not red.
Okay, because
Is it orange?
It might be orange. I don't know how much those No Time guys like to talk about this stuff.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know what's secretive or not.
So I don't talk about no time cars. I don't talk. Well,
Yeah.
I talk. They exist.
Yeah, you can't even tech a No Time car.
I
Really.
don't even post that they're going. They may post that they're going, but that's on them, to post because
Yeah.
everyone's weird. But no time's interesting because we have, a couple rules: small block or smaller, cubic inch. So even inline 6 could play. 4 rules. That's it. But we have to look at the parity within the class because there's some small blocks, that would really donkey stomp the class, within the rules of how it's set. So we want a lot of close racing, and one car would ruin it, and we've had to disallow a bunch, even a couple Coyote cars. We have told that you can't come in because the chance of you winning is detrimental to the whole. And that breaks my heart. But our no time class is open to push rod, so people are like, oh, that's messed up. You have push rod cars, and I'm like, no, it's mod motor versus the world. Ironically,
Exactly.
a Coyote, my motor has never won my no time class. So we are 0 for 5. So it's not like we're afraid. We just haven't won. So
there's not a ton of No Time Coyote cars either.
We got
it's
not that I know
becoming
of, yeah.
normal now.
We got 10.
10 of them.
10 coming.
But last year, I feel like there probably wasn't as many. Like it seems to be a newer
We had
in that
10.
world.
We had 10 Coyotes last year.
really
We had
Well, I don't know the engine breakdowns, but I
Yeah.
know that the no
Yeah.
time class is always awesome. Man.
Yeah,
I
but I'm
love
saying
that
it was, and then Troy Perez has the no time rules, so they're they allow times to be shown at some point during the year, where a lot of no time classes they don't, and so that does allow people to kind of go back and forth as long as it's within the rules that Troy sets. So
Yeah, because last weekend I did the street style deal, and it was a bunch of Coyotes, but it's street style. It's a little different.
Yeah.
But then like the Invitational and the 28s, mostly big block cars with a lot of nitrous.
Exactly.
Like 900 cubic inch type of stuff where it's like,
insane 60 foots.
Yeah.
Those cars are just gone, man.
I mean, Troy Jr.'s car is wild.
I love watching that stuff.
Yeah, that's our funnest class. I want to. Glenn Burrich won one year, and I've never not heard the end of it. I love Glenn, but and then he just LS swapped his car, so it makes me mad at him. So if he wins again, I'm gonna throw his trophy like in a corner or something.
He doesn't get it back.
Yeah,
because it was small block Ford for a long time.
Yeah. He won LS now, and so he's in it, and
He just won as like the first race he went to or something the other day, didn't he?
Yeah, he's been posting about going and beating a bunch of mod motors, but he's got no shot. He's got no shot. He's been put on the trailer, but no, he's one of the good LS guys. You know him. He actually likes what we do. We're accommodating to racers. Yeah. We're not a big corporate event. There's no 5 levels of people to get to the owner of the promotion. We give
There's
back.
a 4-letter event that I know of that's Mustang focused.
Yeah.
And I think you may be.
Yeah, and we try to work together, but they're aligned different with different corporate sponsors, and they have a points race.
Yep.
There's oftentimes, which is really kind of a compliment to us, we do things that are kind of like, oh, let's just make a class that's weird. And they're like, oh man, there's a lot of interest in this, you know, and they adopt some of the concepts that come over, which is beneficial to the whole community.
Well, they're a big ship to steer,
whereas
you're a small ship to steer where you can pivot.
One person, yeah, I'm not
easily.
People are like, hey, do a mod motor race in Texas. I'm like, go fuck yourself, you know, like I don't, you know,
just one.
I want to do one really good, like Streetcar Takeover. I don't know how they do what they do on the scale that they do, and plus run their day to day.
Yeah,
you know, I would love to be able to do more than one race, but where would I get the sponsors? Like I have a lot of sponsors for one race. I don't know how to ask them for more money, you know, and then to promote that race in Texas, you know, like that would make sense. But TJ Bailey may do one out there, and I'll help him.
Oh, that would be
but I
cool.
won't take ownership of it. I'll just
like an offshoot.
Yeah, I'll let you. You know, it'll be totally different classes.
Well, it's been proven you can have a big race in Texas and Florida.
Yeah,
I mean Texas would be the next Mustang capital of the world. I mean, all those guys have either that oil refinery work money or they have
the drug money,
the welding. I was thinking the welders, but
I went straight
money
the drug.
too.
I went straight the drug.
There's definitely some of that too, but there's a lot of those welders.
Yeah, no, it makes sense. It's a lot to put on your plate to do something when you're such a control freak. Imagine you franchising Kelltrac to Texas, and then saying, okay, you know, we're going to do it over there, and then your quality control goes down. But Streetcar Takeover, they are on the road 200 days a year with a smile and run day-to-day operations. I'm like, I don't know how y'all do it.
And I talked to some guys that run like No Prep Kings, and I'm like, that's just so much. There's like 20 events a year.
Yeah.
That's so much to go do.
Yeah.
I'm stressed over one event.
Millionaire series to go run that. Like, you have to be really rolling in it. So I heard you were planning the first one, though, like, not in the country, right? When you planned your first...
Yeah.
You were calling sponsors from, like, overseas?
Yeah. I was in, I think I said, I was in Iraq at the time. And me and Kelly talked about it. Me and Fred Cook had talked about it the year before, and I was kind of bored because I was between what I was doing for work over there, and I started calling sponsors. I called 3 sponsors, and then on a sat phone on top of a roof where I had signal, and they were like, I'm in. And then I messaged Jason Miller, who obviously knows a thing or two about the hosting a race. He's like, pick a spot, don't compete with other events, and really that's it. Pick a date, don't move. Pick a location, don't move. And then don't compete with other events. Why? I've never competed with another event because I think that's wrong to do. But I've moved tracks now 3 times and dates 3 times. So, but that was by necessity. But it was Memphis, 2016 Labor Day weekend. Ironically, it was the same weekend as Yellow Bullet National. But I didn't feel like I was competing against Yellow Bullet people because it's the same people. But we have Veterans Day weekend, which I'm obviously a veteran, and I love that weekend.
You planned it from Iraq.
Yeah. It was on a whim, and I raised.
And you weren't there for vacation, I imagine.
No, I came home, executed. I did the race, and I went back. So it was we had $30,000 payouts the first year. Cash.
Oh wow.
And then 30,000.
That's a big 40. Commitment to make on the first event.
I cashed out.
It is, especially back then.
I cashed out a 401k to do it, and it was but it was the right thing to do. So the evolution of Modular Mustangs was to provide a community of we're gonna reward the good companies, and we're gonna make sure the bad companies don't get any sort of credibility. I was tired of going on LS Post and defending Mod Motors and telling them how awesome our community was, in the same process trying to promote and reward the companies that actually take care of it. Yeah, because we were a lot of R&D. We blew up a lot of motors because we didn't know where to go. And so I was jaded. I was like, well, who's going to be the voice of the community? Who's going to protect the next generation of people so they don't go to a certain engine company and blow up 2 motors and then LS swap their car? Because they think that's the better.
They think that engine sucks.
They think that's the better solution. So that was like out of passion. Right. Did that for 3 years. Built it to like 500,000 on Facebook. Like there was a need, but then I was like, "What's the next evolution?" They're like, "Oh, sell merchandise." And I'm like, "Well, I hate merchandise and I hate selling parts, so I'm never going to do that." So race promotion, no one's doing that, right? So LS Fest has theirs. Mod Nationals is ours, and they're owned by Holly and I'm owned by me. We have almost $100,000 payouts. I'm not going to tell you how much they have, but it's not even close.
They don't? I don't keep up with that.
They got like 6 classes. It's pretty sad potatoes. But people go there because it's Holly, it's LS.
Oh no, I know a lot of people
Fest.
That go there.
It's a big deal. I mean, it's I'm not saying bad about the production of the race, but it's not where it should be for.
It's not as drag racing focused.
No,
as you would like it to be. It's more like scattered focus on like weird people, like weird LS swaps.
I think they have like a drift thing. They have big car show,
autocross and stuff, don't they?
Burnouts, all kinds of stuff like that.
I went to one year.
Yeah, and all me and Kelly have been trying to do is just say we're better than you for the last 10 years, and that's where we're at clearly. And finally, people are starting to catch on, but we're also better on the production side. The Mod National side is 100,000, maybe 120 next year. I mean, I don't care. As long as they keep making sponsors, the payouts will keep going up. Right. You get spectators actually, to show up in Tampa, like. We're going to reward car counts. Open comps, only 1,500 on Saturday and Sunday. You give me 32 open comp cars, we're going to make that. We're going to cap it eventually at some like 32 cars, but we're going to make sure we reward people that show up. That's going to be a direct. And Victor agrees. He's a partner. He's my 50-50 partner. Like he's like, what you're doing is aligned with FL2K. You take care of people. We have awesome checks and trophies, and it's all family friendly. I mean, Kelly's a big fan of it because he sees like it's all about the community.
I told him like last year, it was last minute, and I'm like, is it okay if I go reward people with cash and stuff? And he's like, well, you gotta be careful because if we promote, like you can say you're gonna give money to people, but anyways, my point is I love to give money to people. I don't really have a marketing budget, and I don't know how to market. I don't know how to advertise. But what I do is I give, if we're friends on Facebook, you may see it. I'll do random cash giveaways all the time. I'm like, guess the number on this piece of paper, $400. Like, because I'd rather do that. I'd rather give money to people instead of paying large companies. And I'm not trying to be that guy. But I mean, it goes back to when I was working for another company. I was always telling my boss, the owner, I'm like, look, I'd rather just give parts to people instead of pay these people to do an article that's fake and they know it's fake. Yeah. I like to be legit. So that's why I hit him up and I said, I just want to give money to people. Like, I'm not coming there with a trailer full of parts to sell.
It's a community race,
I just want to. I actually wanted. The way it started is I hit him up and I said, "Is Mod Nats at $100,000 yet? Like, I want to see $100,000 payout."
Yeah,
like
so close.
Yeah,
and so then I hit him up the other day and I said, "Can we get a couple sponsors? I'm willing to throw in more money."
Yeah, I think we'll.
And
get
if
there
it doesn't
at the race.
get there, I'm going to go around handing out money to all the winners.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm that excited.
So
about
it's
it.
a community race. You can do whatever you want to do to help grow the race. It's our race. It's not my race. I'm the idiot that plans it. But like, if you have a cool idea, you want to do an after party, or you want to do a cruise in, or you want to do money giveaway, or you want to do a special check, like I'll order all that stuff. I don't care. My ideas are only limited to my ideas, but everyone else has great ideas. I'm like, that's a great idea. Right. Let's do that. Hey, I'm like 950 class, that Motion sponsors here. That was a great idea. It was a great gap filler for a lot of cars that weren't too fast, couldn't do 850s or 7 seconds. So all the ideas come from the community. 6R80 class came from the community.
Yeah, I remember that.
I was like, oh, that's an overdrive. Oh, that makes sense. Give me 10 cars and I'll say yes.
Yeah, because it's 6R80 and 10R80, right?
Yeah, now it's 10R80.
So it's mixed.
Yeah. So it's these ideas come from everyone. I digest it pragmatically and like, okay, that makes sense. Give me 10 cars. But some people bring me some weird ideas, like let's put a Barra motor, class, and
exactly.
And I'm like,
well, I hit you up about doing an S650.
Yeah, and I'm like, and you're like, and then so did JPC, and I'm like, it makes sense, maybe not this year,
exactly,
but if we can get a car count, but I also don't want JPC, which I know they would come in around
820,
and
even
everyone
with
else,
no tuning, How'd you do that? I don't know, it just happened.
JB's wild.
They went 950s.
Yeah,
on the new 650s.
So we don't want puppy kicking out there. So
you could just do like a shootout.
Yeah, we could do a shootout.
You could just do
that's what he had said.
There's always optics.
Like there's a side
that the sponsor wins the class, or makes the class and then goes out and wins their sponsorship money back. Like the optics are there. I'm not saying don't do that,
but it's not like it's not like it's a judge sport.
No, I know.
Where, like, it's heads up drag racing.
Well, they're like, they had influence.
You didn't help them.
They had influence on the rules. I mean, it's funny. I agree with you because
if it was judged,
when certain supercharger companies were battling a couple years ago, they were yelling at the one supercharger company. I'm like, it's not like I'm prepping the lanes better.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, everyone's got to make it down.
Heads up drag racing.
Yeah.
Yes.
But the optics are like, because you favor them. Like, would I make the air better? Do I,
Did I sprinkle
put
a little bit of traction dust?
A little traction dust on their side. I'm like, these are facts.
The sponsors are really good, though. I'll say the first year I've been racing. That's why I'm a little disappointed if I don't race the GT500 class this year, but I raced the first year in my car, and I didn't do too hot that year, but I will say I remember maybe Evolution won or something, and I got money back.
Yeah. So,
and I was like, wow, really? And
so Fred won the class, and he took the payout money and
distributed it.
Distributed it to everyone.
So I wanted to tell you that's the camaraderie, even though there's some drama between some of the companies and stuff. At the end of the day, Evolution, kudos to them. They demolished the class. I mean, their car out of the gate was just so far above and beyond everybody else's. Yeah. So they demolished everybody, but then they distributed it to everybody.
Yeah,
so
that was a fair way to do it.
I thought that was incredible. I think that if I won, I would probably do that just because, again, I want everybody to get money. Well, we talked about doing some qualifying. Was it you and I? We talked about giving some.
Yeah,
I wish everybody had a chance to get something.
Yeah, we do that with the veterans, specifically, but we can do it with anything.
Right.
Whatever. It's anyone's race. Do whatever you want. I'll have the announcers announce whatever you want to say, as long as it's beneficial and it gives back to the community. Because it's nice to get $100, $200. If you're out first round, like if you're the first duck and you had like the hard luck, here's some money. Mm-hmm. I thought about doing that, for the last qualifier in each class.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about. Yeah,
the last qualifier, here's some money.
Fuel Tech, I think, gave $500 to the top 16 qualifiers in front wheel drive at FL2K. Yeah. Top 16 qualifiers all got $500 credit.
And they'll make that money back tenfold.
And they're going to remember that too. I'm just going to tell you, if I raced a class and that happened, like if I needed something, I'm like, that's who I'm. I mean, that's cool, man.
Well, the ECU is $1,000, so you're like,
I know, right?
You're going to end up buying the $1,000
with the support that goes with it and all the sensors.
So that's a cool deal. Does UPR show up with their whole trailer?
Oh yeah, UPR is one of they're one of the three companies I called. Sherrod was on the phone.
Yeah. He's always supported me on my Mustang build. He's awesome.
They get the UPR right behind the Bradenton deal. Yeah, they've been with us since day one.
UPR is a really solid Florida-based company. Yeah. I really like those guys.
They've been around a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mark Monero and Sherrod and Steve and a bunch of those guys are just easy. Yeah. I don't have to coddle their egos.
They bring so much support to the racers too. They have parts.
Right, yeah.
In their trailer, you show up and you have a broken Heim joint or something, they have them there.
Right.
That's
and the shocks
big.
And everything. People that know me that are watching this and know my history and stuff, I've had some beef with those guys. It's competitive beef, Mm-hmm. We could talk forever about that stuff in the industry, but I will say. I mean, even a couple years ago, we sponsored a racer, and one of his Santuf shocks blew out. And I'm driving up to Commerce, Georgia, and Eric at JPC and John. It was John Cotter, the Cobra Jet.
He'll be.
And so he's like, "What do I do? The shop, blah blah blah." And the first thing I said, and we had just sponsored this car. And took him away from UPR or something. I don't remember what the scenario was, but there was drama there. There was beef. And I said, I think I told Eric, I said, UPR's probably got some Viking shocks.
Yeah.
And they did. And we won the event. We won the event. So exactly what you're saying, they come prepared. It's hard. They know people are going to break. Yeah.
And I get usually smack dab in the middle of all the drama. Mm-hmm. I have to eat shit from everyone,
It's a pretty drama-filled group of people, too.
It is.
I mean, that's why it's an internet race, which is great because people literally will come I hope he doesn't show up.
Tuner versus tuner.
I'm gonna beat his ass. He better not come. There's one guy that if he shows up, oh man, he's gonna get his ass beat. He just talked all this stuff. I'm like, should I do a boxing ring? Yeah.
Right.
And just be like, all right, here's your gloves. Yeah. 5 minutes, beat each other up, have a beer afterwards because that's what dudes do. If you don't like each other, after you're bloody and you hit somebody, you're like, okay,
let's crack a beer open.
Let's crack a beer. Let's be best friends because we're all kind of the same. We just have. And it sucks about texting and the internet. It's by proxy passive aggressive. That's why emojicons exist. If you don't put a smiley face at the end of a statement. They're going to be there's a Key and Peele spiel about, what are you doing? Right. I don't care, whatever. Yeah. He's like, I don't care, whatever.
Yeah.
You could take it very literal. And then it goes down that missing, no one wants to look bad on the internet. Nobody wants to be misunderstood on the internet. And then it gets into beef. And if we just hung out, we all would be generally friends, And
you take things,
the internet does a
texting, some people are horrible with it too. Yeah. Yeah, I know you guys know what I'm talking about. Like you're messaging with him and you're like, I don't know what he's saying right now. Like there are people that just cannot text. They don't know how to text. And then there's the people that are always, you don't know how to take them. Jim Braun's a good one. I don't really text with him these days and stuff, but back in the day when we were younger, we're racing a lot and stuff. Everything he would say, he would be LOL after it. It's like, are you laughing every time you send? Like
he probably is though.
But you never knew. You're like, what does he mean? Is he making fun of me? Is he serious? Is he? So that's what I'm saying though. But once you get to the race, man, it's like you don't have to go. I don't have to go talk to some guy I don't like. And there's always beef with. The industries, right? There's the tuner. This tuner hates this tuner, but then this tuner does a good job, and this tuner will send them a bottle of bourbon. Congratulations, you set a record, or you won, or there's always that stuff. Like I don't know.
It's
but that's our industry,
we're men.
Man.
There's a lot of women in the industry too. But we like to be competitive. We want to be the best.
Right.
And generally we don't like people that do it better than us or as good as us. So we feel threatened. So it's just human nature.
So did Mullins, did TKM make some type of comment? Again, I don't have time to watch this stuff. Did they make a video about the fastest Coyote? What is this?
I think they're claiming that their car is the fastest Coyote, but it's a no-time car. Yeah. But they're going to light the boards with it.
Okay.
But if you're going to light the boards with it anyways, why not just say what it ran?
Yeah.
Because it doesn't matter at this point.
Yeah.
So,
okay.
Well, are we talking?
If
stock,
it's already been the fastest,
are we talking stock motor? Because that's a stock motor.
Stock block,
that's not
I
a
guess.
billet, right? Yeah. So it's a stock block. I mean, the billet. There's a big block or tall deck. Billet. There's other billets that have claimed to go faster.
There's no iron block.
Yeah, there is now. It just came out yesterday. But I mean, but I just want to see a 399. I don't care how it happens. If you want a hero pass on Saturday night,
right,
when the DA is, and the dew point's about to be stupid, that's where JPC ran their record. We shut the whole trek down and let them do a hero pass.
I remember.
I have no problem doing that. If they want to, I just want to see a 399 or 40000.
What's Brett's best 660?
412.
Yeah, I think it's like an 18 or a 20.
Yeah, I think it's and I think there was a car that went faster that's coming down too.
So did Cletus today, somebody texted me, said he went real fast today.
Yeah, 633.
He went at 630,
Yeah.
At what mile an hour?
233.
Yeah.
I mean, my feed was
233.9, so it was like 234.
Yeah. My feed was Cletus.
He went 233.9?
Yeah. He was at 50 pounds, right?
Yeah, I think
they
so.
can go to 70.
Yeah, I don't know how happy that motor is going to be at 70.
Yeah. Or the chassis.
But you may claim it can handle 70,
Wow,
but I don't know
man.
if that thing's going to be happy locking up the converter at 70 pounds of boost.
So is that right?
They're not in the same class at World Cup, Brett and Garrett.
But their times, that's all I'm
They're comparable. Yeah, they're both running 630s.
Is Cletus' car heavier, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I thought so.
It's like almost 4,000 pounds.
Yeah.
Like, it's like right on
Those cubic inches are working.
Yeah, that's why I'm saying, like, it's going to be hard on that motor.
Yeah.
You're making 3,000 plus horsepower.
That's crazy.
It's hard on it when you lock up that converter and you see the drive shaft curve meet the RPM and you're just like max pain, basically, trying to rip the crank out the bottom of the motor.
But it's good that we have guys like Garrett because he is crazy enough.
Yes.
To push it to that.
That's exactly the point.
We should all be thankful that he has just, I don't know, the disposable income and the program to be able to
the desire.
Yeah.
It's like, it's a desire.
He's got 3 cars.
Yeah, exactly.
I cry after one car.
Because plenty of people have the income. Plenty of people could put together
That's
a team.
True. That's true.
The desire is crazy.
Yeah,
the competitiveness is where it really is interesting.
He's really good.
He's an interesting character.
But that's what's great about World Cup is everyone negative 1,200 DA, 1,500 DA.
Yeah.
Let it, and Jason Miller preps it really good. So it's really good to see it. I like that race.
Yeah, he's on 315s up there too. I think that's what helps a lot.
That's okay.
Yeah, because he's on 275s when he's down at FL2K because he was in the 28-inch tire class. But then up there, he goes to a 315. So it helps him get that 60-foot.
Right.
Because it's still factory G-body suspension. Mm-hmm. It's not a parallel 4-link, which it really should be at this point.
Right.
But
this sort of reminds me of the excitement we had when Radial versus World went like 399.
Yeah.
Years ago. They've been kind of stagnant at like 350, you know, but it's like, I feel like that
there
excitement.
was that momentum.
Yeah, there was a lot. It was like, who's the first 399? Who's the first 380, 370,
The
360?
Brett thing
now
to me is awesome.
You know, and then you have a little baby 5.0 Coyote, you know, doing stupid stuff, you know, at that level. And
is it a Coyote though? Being
It's
a
a
predator,
variant.
it's a
So
it's not a Coyote anymore.
it's a Coyote family. You know, like the Triton is a variant of the.
If the cylinder head bolts to it, it's a Coyote.
Yeah, so here
Are people saying it's not a Coyote?
No.
Because it's a Predator, I guess.
Or the Predator block. Yeah.
So here's the thing, but let's talk about this. Actually, this is a very good topic. There are people that are saying that you know, whenever you do really good, you're always going to have haters, you're going to have doubters, you're going to have shit talkers, right? And that is one of the things that people are talking about Brett's engine. It's not this, that, and the other. But listen, it's no different than if I remember correctly, on the LS side of the world, and a lot of the LS guys are the ones actually saying it's not a Coyote, but that LC9 is what the guys were using. It's no different.
They still use it.
It's the exact same thing. That's not a LS 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It's an LC9.
Yeah.
It's literally the same, but it's the same thing.
Yeah.
Is it not?
Yeah.
It's the same thing.
100%.
And I'm going to say that's an LS.
I would never doubt that that's not a Coyote motor.
Yes.
You can't tell me, like, especially you go look at that thing and look at a factory block Coyote, whatever.
Well, the
like
new ones look
Coyote
just like
versus a
them.
Predator.
I don't know
Like,
if
it's
you
the
guys know
same
that.
thing.
The Gen 4 Coyote, it's the same deck, and it, like Will at RPG Race Engines posted a thing a while back and showed the Gen 4 out of a truck, and it looked just like the Shelby block. He actually said it was better. So I don't know what's coming, but we'll see with the Coyote. So my point is that could even be more, you know, in Brett's defense. I mean, if those Gen 4 Coyotes are really that much better.
Yeah,
It's a non-argument.
I know.
It makes my head hurt.
It's a non-argument.
I'm over here just like,
so
people are funny.
You touched on the trucks. How much of your business is trucks? Because it seems like that's the two-door short beds are blowing up.
It's taken off, man.
Stamina right
Yeah,
now.
the all-wheel drive.
The only reason,
but it's both the all-wheel drive or the rear-wheel drive ones too.
Yeah.
They're both cool.
I'm doing both. You'd be surprised how many people have the two-wheel drives actually.
Yeah.
It's like, because here's the thing. If you go to the drag strip, that's the best choice. I'm just going to put it out there. If you're going to do, like, you know, the crazy guys that do like the Manuel Gomez, the midnight performances where they go out on the streets and they're racing for 50 grand and you're doing that stuff, you'd be silly to not do the four-wheel drive, because here's the facts. Tesla kind of sped this up. But if you're a Ford guy and you want a fast street car and you want to go out and play and stuff, the F-150 is the only option.
You need the all-wheel drive.
That's it.
Period.
There's nothing else.
Yeah.
So now you have a Coyote, you got a 10-speed, and you have all-wheel drive.
Engine bay room for whatever power plant you want.
Twins, blowers.
Giant blower. Yeah.
Simple suspension, simple fuel systems.
Like, you can't...
It's a leaf spring.
All the new cars, all the BMWs are going all-wheel drive.
Yeah.
Like, it's a big
tune only. They're going 990s and stuff.
Big
and my buddy's like,
if you buy a real
the
drive,
Coyote car. And it sucks because they're right.
Yeah.
It's so hard to go buy a GT. Put a drag pack and a blower on it and go run some nines. Tell me it's easy.
I mean, you were talking about this with the 911 turbo all-wheel drive versus the GT3. Yeah. I will say, I don't have traction issues in the GT3. I don't ever spin, but you're right, though. You can apply more power, 600 horsepower all-wheel drive. If I had 600 horsepower, maybe I would be spinning the tires. I'd have no torque, just like you.
Yeah, because you have now it's Porsche GT3 you went into, but yeah, I've spent a lot of time with the 911 turbo, and you can't convince me that a GT3 is preferred over a 911. Or a turbo. I just can't fathom that.
Yeah.
The Turbo S is just such.
So the reason why I didn't buy a turbo, and I don't mean to segue off the truck, but I would have a 1,000 horsepower turbo. You know, it's so easy.
It's the rabbit hole.
It's
man.
the rabbit hole. I can't touch
It's
a GT3.
the reason Coyote motors blow up all the time.
Yeah. It's a gateway
because everybody takes advantage of them. I have a group of friends that hate the Coyote because they're like, all they do is blow up. And I'm like, because it's so easy to make too much power.
Yeah. Do you know LS guys?
Yeah.
They always blow up.
Right. Yeah. But
those blow up more than anything.
I could put an air filter and an exhaust on the car.
But that's what he's saying. It's like he's gonna make 900 and blow it up.
I know.
Then it's gonna be 40 grand, because I don't know if you guys know on the 911 stuff, the shops charge like 20 grand for a rod swap.
Oh, you
that's
get
what they
it's
do.
it's a Porsche tax.
Yeah.
When I call for like a PPF, they're like 10 grand. I call for a PPF on a Hyundai, they're like, oh, it's $1,200.
Right.
I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
this is ridiculous. Yeah,
But that's all they need, I guess, is rods on those.
Yeah,
but they charge a $20,000 rod swap.
Yeah.
You know, of course, there's some machines.
There's definitely a Porsche tax on that. But
100%.
Have you had any weird mod motor stuff come out? Because like even the GT500s, the older like those were the mod motors are kind of cool, but they kind of suck at drag racing. But even like some of the old like Koenigsegg's and stuff had mod motors in them, which is weird.
Great segue. So original Koenigsegg was a mod motor.
Yeah.
And so they took
Even the current ones look like mod motors.
They
I
took
think.
the design from Ford, re-engineered it, and basically made their own block.
Yeah.
And made their own design. But if you look at it and you hear it,
Yeah.
I was on their website the other day and look at this motor.
yeah,
Yeah.
Like, what the heck is that?
You look deep enough and you're like, that 2,000 horsepower
And then this
Koenigsegg,
one too, I was like, wait,
yes.
that looks like a Coyote.
It's a kissing cousin to a mod motor. I mean, I'm not saying that I've never seen the block, bolt the heads on, but it's very close. So ironically, one of the best hypercars out there is a
but
for
their
lack of better
first gen
words,
one was actually like
Was it-
straight up
yep.
from Ford,
Yep.
bought the block, and then did their own cylinder.
And it's no
heads for
different
it.
than Venom, from Hennessy taking the LS stuff.
Yeah.
It worked, but they were so far ahead of the game. Lamborghini's overhead cam, they're efficient. You don't need a lot of timing. Just add boost. They just flow a lot of air.
It's all about flow.
There's not.
I mean, that's what it's about. So,
know,
that's why you don't need. Well, it's also nice to have 4 valves per cylinder because you get to split the cams up.
Yep.
So you don't have to have like I love Corvettes. I'm a Corvette. Like I'm a fan of them. I love that. Like a C7 Z06 to me is a cool car. Is it a smart car to go fast with? You better have some money to go fast with one. But here's what I don't like about the pushrod stuff, even the Godzilla, any of that stuff, is I feel like I'm over the car bouncing.
It's a washing
chopping
machine.
And misfiring and fuel smells.
Yeah.
I'm over that.
It's a washing
If I
machine.
can sit with a 1,000 horsepower car that goes
Yeah, because you have horizontally, you have the harmonics
So-
and the balance between the cams. It sounds like a race car in the back, but inside you have a latte just drinking,
Yeah.
It's smooth.
But like technology,
Yeah.
I mean, it's very hard. When's the last time you saw a pushrod car that's like, I'm making 1,000 at the wheels with a stock cam?
That's where they make power,
So,
Well, even like my 2J car, it just kind of hums. Like it,
Right.
Yeah.
when it's running good, it's just like humming and like find another 1,500 horsepower Camaro that's sitting there just kind of like humming along, not like
Yep.
crazy sounding. Like all the other 1,500 ones like chunk, chunk,
Barely
chunk,
run.
chunk, chunk, chunk. Like, yeah.
Yeah.
You know, it's kind of interesting.
Just
on that.
add boost, Well, I mean, how much timing do we need? We don't need a lot of timing. We don't need big cams.
Yeah.
right.
I mean, LS guys have built Coyotes and put 24 degrees of timing in it and figure out why the rod's hanging out. Like,
Would you allow any Godzillas at your deal, or Godzilla stay at the?
yeah, I mean, it's a
stay at the
push rod.
gate?
I'm a wildly known push rod hater.
Even though that's a Ford one, man.
They're allowed in no time. Maybe if I made an exquisite class like Barra, Godzilla, and made like an offshoot.
yeah.
But I don't want to like open the rabbit hole.
Yeah.
It would have to be like a big demand signal, like 20 cars.
Barra's a little closer.
But if it's
Godzilla is.
but EcoBoost, it could be any of those.
Yeah.
It could be any of those.
You got
those,
a customer with an EcoBoost, right? I've seen you at the track with.
I've
seen you at the track with that fast one though.
The blue one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That one's cool.
Yeah, I would do it.
Fat.
Normally they're not cool, but that one I've
That
seen,
one's fast.
and that one's cool because I'm like, wait.
And at 60s, man, on a 305 too. All those S550 guys use that big 315. He's still on the little 305. That car's nasty. Jesse Ringley.
Yeah. So what's the story on that car?
It's just he is.
Is it the four banger?
It's a 4-cylinder EcoBoost.
It's a 4-cylinder. Yeah. I mean, he owns Engineered Motorsport Solutions. I believe it's
Was
called
he in
ENS.
FL2K? There was one at FL2K.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Was it the record one?
Yes.
Okay.
He was in the wrong class at FL2K.
Yeah, he got murdered.
He was in like.
But that car is fast, though. I mean, it's fast. He's going back to that insanity thing. He hurts the car all the time.
It's a 4-cylinder.
Yes,
Yeah.
but it is fast.
And it's a heavy car for a 4-cylinder.
Yes.
Like it's not a Honda Civic that
Right.
weighs 2,000 pounds.
exactly.
I don't know how much it weighs, but
Yeah.
I can usually gauge a car pretty well off of looking at it and knowing the car. That
He has gotten it's kind of slipped my mind a little bit. It was when I was trying to race my truck and set like the NA record or whatever. But I hit him up one night. I was talking to Wade, and I was like, "Hey, are we gonna have a rental this week or whatever?" And he goes, and anyways, I hit up Jesse, the same guy we're talking about, and it was like 10 p.m. at night, and we're like 2 days away from this rental. And I was like, "Hey, if you want to come down to Florida," and he's up in Tennessee, and you want to, because he was trying to go 8.
He's like en route.
And I said, if you want that 8, I'll go to the track with you, and we'll get that 8. And I think Cletus and everybody was there. James was there.
I was there that day, I think.
Oh, at a rental?
When you were running your truck and that car was out, yeah.
He came from Tennessee.
Yeah.
First pass, dude. We got that. He was like jumping up and down. He's like, "Oh, we did it." And I said, I told you, but now you got to go all the way back home. But I said, you come down here.
That's a good drive home, though.
Yeah.
That's a great drive.
That was a great drive home. He blew the motor up there, too. But yeah, that's because I went over there and talked to James, I think, for a little bit.
That's an impressive car, though. To go 8s on a 4-cylinder EcoBoost. But, like, even that, like, how many people saw that EcoBoost and were like, the Coyote's cool.
Yeah.
But I'm going to go for the EcoBoost.
There was a couple people that went for it, but there was like 4 or 5. JPC had the car.
Right out of the gate, yeah.
But they all had just
then they started splitting the blocks.
Detrimental issues, and you can only do so much, and you just need a special
UPR's
person.
yellow one was 930s or 40s, something like that. They were trying to be the first in the 8s, and they started splitting blocks and stuff, and they gave up. At some point, you got to be
That's the cool thing about the Mustang community, not just Mod Motor, but you have like 10 shops that are just like, when it comes out, if they can get it, they already got parts for it. And it took how long for the C7 to go like 10s, like years.
Right.
And Mustangs are like 10s out of the box.
They're getting closer, though. I know that the C7 ZR1, I think one of the shops went 8s real quick with that.
Yeah, but that's what I want to see.
Whoa.
I don't want to wait.
Power.
I don't want to wait a year for this. I want like immediate gratification.
Right.
I want to see.
So Mustangs did this weird thing where they always had a good chassis, and the engine kind of just met, like all of a sudden in the S197 with like great chassis, great motor.
It is
great
a good
suspension.
car
But we got teased. We had the 0304 Cobra, which was magical, right? And then we had the Dark Ages from 05 to 09 to 10. With a little sprinkle of the GT500 was great, but it was under-tired, under-chassised. It was just a death machine, literally. If you want to die, buy yourself a GT500.
That's crazy because the one that we got was in a wreck.
Yeah. It's a death machine.
They happen.
So we thought we were like, man, 03, 04, here's our LS killer. LS went away. Here's our time to shine. Ford's like, yep, you got the 3-valve.
That's literally how it works.
Yeah, great job.
Yeah.
That's literally that.
I don't know what
to the T how that works.
What crackpot we had our opportunity.
But once again, though, when you start
7
taking
years.
mod motors and you start piecing things together, the 3-valve block turns out to be a wicked
I'm not
block.
a hater of the 3-valve. I think the 3-valve is in some ways better than the 2-valve, but it's hard to compete when you have the C head available, the GT head available.
Yeah.
It's always like I've always said, like the 2-valve and 3-valve are great heads, but when you have so many like other heads available, it's always going to take the back seat.
Oh, for sure.
It's not a bad. I mean, 2-valves have gone deep 7s.
People gone fast on Navigator heads with huge intake ports.
Yeah,
it's
just always one of those black eye deals.
They just like chassis was perfect, motor was perfect. Now they're back on the downslope with a good motor.
Yeah,
like it kind of passed. Like the good motor took over where it was a good chassis because like the new Edge, what is it? The SN95s, great chassis, Fox bodies, and now they're back down with because I don't really care for that IRS stuff. I think it's too heavy for a drag car. And
it's fun to play with. That's my wheelhouse. I work with all those guys, but it's more for like your street strip. Like let me go to the track and run some good times.
Yeah.
You're absolutely right. Here's the biggest problem, and this I love to talk about this right here. So an example is if two people are at the track, and the one car has a 4-link in it, and it's a radial tire, and it's separating down track, and the guy goes, well, so-and-so just went a 109 60-foot. I should be able to go down the track. And I'm like, well, if the track handled a 109, you'll be able to go down the track, but you're in an S550 that squats, and it has to hook before it even squats to work the momentum of the suspension. And they're not understanding, like, you have to hook. Like, there's no, the term hit the tire harder.
That's right.
You can't hit the tire.
It
squats. You can't loosen the rebound and let it hit harder to hook better. you either hook or you don't. And a lot of people that they think about that, and it's so true that like in an independent rear suspension car, you're relying on like weight transfer and stuff. That's why though that they're good no prep cars though, because they can squat and put the weight on the back, and you can hold the front up. And
it's a good rear end too.
Yeah.
It's not like some GM IRS stuff that would just explode when you looked at it wrong. It's actually a strong diff, which is nice.
And they're going pretty quick.
It is. I will say it is like a Brian Luna out in Texas. I think he went a 110 or a 111 60 foot.
Deep sevens?
No, he went sixes.
He went sixes? Yeah.
And so there's a couple that are fast, but I will say there's some really there's really fast IRS Camaros and Mopars too, like really fast. So I just think it's a matter of, let's be honest. The guys that are going really fast on an IRS car, it's usually the perfect track. Because
perfect situation.
Because you can't hit the tire. You can't.
How much does alignment start to come into that?
Huge.
Pretty big on that because you're losing so much contact patch if you go factory
And then when
alignment.
it moves, it changes. So camber and toe are directly related, right? So like on an S550, when the top of the tire goes in, when the car squats, the tires do this. Well, then they toe because your toe link and your camber link. I mean, it can't just do this and stay the same because your link changes that arc. So that is a huge thing. So you'll actually see some people, as a matter of fact, if you walk around at Mod Nats and you look at some of the fast S550s, some of them will actually almost be cambered out. So they're anticipating the squat so they can be even. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah. Like some people in IRS cars I've been around, we would strap it down to the lift and do the alignment, that way to see what it would do.
That's totally right.
Fully strapped down.
And then once you put it up, the tires will kind of go like, so.
And driver weight in there is also a thing we would do.
There's
we would
all
make
kinds
sure
of stuff. Like, I mean, it's just like I do a lot of no prep stuff these days, and that's huge part of my business is the guys trying to hook on the street, and they want the front way up in the air.
Like no prep back of the track, no prep like
back of the
because when people say no prep, they mean like three different things. Top end of the track towards the prep. On the prep track, but nobody sprayed, or a street somewhere.
No, my guys are street. Like I don't know if you guys saw that video that went around yesterday with that guy that did my new long travel front suspension. But these guys, they're going on asphalt. They'll do a water burnout and then go down an asphalt cold road and go 360s. I mean, it's impressive.
Yeah, that is cool.
Like fives and stuff.
I love watching the no prep, how wild they are with the beater bomb, with the extended weight, the butt hurt bar. Yeah. Now you got guys with big wings that are on them.
Further downforce.
Like,
well, even Mike Moretti, he was on Street Outlaws with your suspension. They did a bunch of testing on it before they went out there to Oklahoma they did like a street style shootout. And his car did really well on the street. They did converter change and stuff though, but
it actually that is because he's got a good team, right? So that suspension, when I sold Mike that suspension, there was no talk about a slick and I'm used to setting all the MSR cars up the same way basically. I've been working with those guys forever. It's like you want this valve on the front, you want this shock.
Yeah, get the recipe.
It's a recipe, and then he goes out there and they adjusted quickly and they did really well. But I'm just being honest. I've started to really like that stuff because it's just such a challenge. Like
it's the equalizer.
It is to see these guys go out and hook on some of these surfaces blows my mind. And when you see it happen, but again, it goes back to the truck stuff. That's a lot of people are getting into the truck stuff because they want to hook everywhere, right?
I try to get Manuel to come to the race, but he can't do quarter mile. It's hard. It's hard. So next year, I think the evolution will be having a 5.0 class or 550, whatever ET is like for 8th mile cars that don't want to run out the back end.
Right.
Because the 4-wheel drive, he says like
I'd love to see those
brutal.
trucks.
They can do 1,000 feet, I think, but I think that's it.
I like all the trucks on Street Outlaws and all that stuff. I'm Boosted GT. He's got a truck now. I did his shocks a while back.
Coyote.
But he's got a new Coyote truck.
Yeah,
Boosted
I think
GT.
he does, right?
It's a turbo.
I don't follow him. Yeah,
turbo truck. Yeah, so
see if I can get all those.
I wish I could get. Yeah, it'd be awesome if those guys could come out and race or whatever. But I'm surprised there's not more trucks at the race.
Yeah.
I think it's not as big of a Florida thing as it is like a out of state.
Yeah.
Well, Texas is truck. That's where I grew up.
All of our trucks
Everybody
are coming
had an
from
F-150,
out of state,
man.
Generally,
so.
You would think it'd be more Florida, but we're more lifted. 4-door
bro
truck.
Bro.
Bro dozers.
Yeah, it's a little more of that. We're not like street truck like Houston or Texas, and especially because Houston doesn't really have like a big event venue anymore. They have small tracks, but losing Houston Raceway Park was huge.
Yeah, plus
pretty
I think
big
the
hit to
street
them.
racing here is like 60 to 130s.
Yeah.
Your draggy stuff, not their street light to street light.
Yeah.
Right.
Houston,
The
Dallas,
dig
Kansas
racing
City.
and all that
It's all about what your draggy time is.
Yep.
And the new cars make pretty good no prep because they're longer. So like the S197s and the S550s are a good bit longer than like a Fox body.
They are. They're
and the weight actually
7
helps.
inches longer wheelbase.
Like a heavier car is kind of
absolutely.
nice.
So going back to that wing thing, and I don't want to get too off topic on the racing and stuff, but I'm a real big fan of testing suspension and developing it on the street. And because most of my guys are street cars and they like to race and stuff, but the moral of the story is when I was doing testing on my Shelby on trying to get the car to hook on a asphalt road from 40 and 50 miles an hour, what I did notice is I did testing with and without the big carbon spoiler.
Yeah.
And what a difference it does make. Like,
that helps you hook?
Legit, yes. So to be more specific, it's in a modern day street car that's not a race car, it's pretty challenging to do the threes in the 60 to 130 on the street, just rolling and punching it.
Yeah,
it's not common. So my goal was to do that and to program the suspension with the mag ride and do a little IRS tricks. And I could not. So I did. I went 380s in that car, but I tried to take it off, and it wouldn't even go like a high three. It wouldn't even go into the threes at all without that spoiler. Wow. So just some stuff I've learned.
Interesting, yeah. But I do like watching your videos, your draggy videos. There's good data to be,
Yeah, I just like to share. I mean, it's getting so popular.
Yeah.
And because it's a lot of people hate on things. I'm a fan of any metric.
Yeah.
I'll race my neighbor. I'll race him like our lawnmowers. We're racing.
Yeah.
So I don't, the people, I know people get all into that's stupid. I like competition, man. Like it doesn't matter what it is.
The draggy's a really good benchmark for that stuff too. And
it is.
Especially for a street car because on a non-prep surface, it's completely different even if you're rolling.
Yep.
It's so different. So, it makes sense for you because you can back-to-back test something instantly.
Yes, absolutely. So, and don't get me wrong, and you won't see me do this. I'm not going to go out there and brag as a business about something on a draggy, but I will damn sure show that I'm the guy is like, I couldn't hook. Now I'm hooking. And I'm real big with like, I don't like to sell stuff that people don't. We could get into that another time, but like, I only like to sell and set people up with what is actually working. Mm-hmm. I'm not trying to become some big, huge company that sells a bunch of stuff. So that's why you like to use that device because I can say, hey, it really does work. This part really does work, so. But yeah, I just wanted to throw that wing thing out there because on that car, it worked so well that my new one's not a carbon fiber track pack. It doesn't have that spoiler. And the first thing when I got this car is I ordered a carbon fiber track pack spoiler because I knew that I'm going to need it.
OEM spends a lot of money on this R&D. They don't just put things on there
That's
just
exactly
because.
Right. Yep.
Things aren't on these cars by accident.
Yes.
They're purpose put on there.
Yeah, they spend a lot of time with it. So.
Well, guys, anything else we're missing here before we wrap it up? Anything good going on that I'm missing out on that I forgot to ask?
No, we can talk about forever about this sort of thing, but we appreciate you having us on.
Oh, dude, I appreciate you guys coming on. Where can they find everything that we kind of talked about? You guys both have websites and pages.
So for me, mynationals.com,
Yep.
the Facebook page, Instagram page, the races,
that in
the test and tunes on the 9th. And then the
Thursday,
race
right?
Thursday, yeah. The race officially starts on Friday the 10th, Saturday, and the eliminations for most of the classes on Sunday. And Bradenton Motorsports Park is a place to find it. We have online tickets, but you can buy tickets at the gate if you're a racer. Yep. And thanks for helping get the word out. And we're here. Sure. We're here in Tampa. We're going to be here for a long time. You'll see how much we give back to the racer. You'll see the level of the trophies that we have.
I saw that.
Cost me over $6,000 just to get those trophies.
Oh man,
that's the level of stuff. That's where sponsors come in. Like the money's got to come from somewhere. You get all Happy Gilmore's checks. Like a lot of that stuff is like money comes and goes, but those trophies and those checks and that experience of team parking, that's what makes us different.
I tell event promoters that all the time. I'm like, the trophies hugely important. Even if the win is 10 grand, the trophy's still
Yeah,
important.
you're gonna spend that on the motor you put in there just to make the race.
Exactly.
You know? You want that up on here so you can brag about and say, hey,
Right.
you know, I remember that.
Well, guys, get your earplugs and go to listen to some straight pipe Coyotes.
Oh my god.
Oh yeah.
Oh my god.
Hey,
they
you
sound
love
good with
Coyotes.
turbos.
You love Coyotes, but we can all agree that you need earplugs if they're straight piped
Yeah.
NA Coyote.
Yeah, they got courses. They're
Worst.
There's no secret there.
Well, I mean, the turbo is the muffler, you know. So I mean, they're not as bad. Brett's car sounds amazing. But
Turbos are great.
If you have a straight pipe Corsa, oh my god,
Yeah.
like go to Mustang Week.
Of course, the extreme.
I want to hit
Yeah.
everybody. You know what I would never let them be a sponsor. No offense to Corsa, because they make an exhaust that just pisses me off.
I
I
don't
get
blame
why they
them.
have it.
I mean, they sell a lot of them.
They
I
sell a
guess.
lot of them.
Yeah, they do.
Where can they find you at? Where can they get a hold of you for your? Because you're
Yeah.
not just gonna go on your website and order something. You're gonna
Usually
talk
it's
to you.
more like consultation type
Yeah.
stuff. You know, I have some dealers. I'm not here, honestly, I'm not here to really promote. Yeah, I'm wearing the shirt, but, you know.
I wanna promote
I'm here
you.
for this.
Yeah.
I know you do, but.
Full disclosure for everyone
you know,
watching, I
I've-
asked him to be here because I don't like self-promotion. I'm good at promotion of the race, but I'm not good about talking good about the race. You know, so Kelly's a big advocate
Yeah.
and a great dude.
Yeah, I've been following since the
ethical,
beginning. So,
You know, so he's
but yeah, Kelltrac.com. I got Facebook pages, and I don't really know how to market and promote, but you know, I got a couple followers. I like to post a lot of stuff online, but most people that know that will be watching this and stuff that know who I am know that I'm pretty easy to find. Like, you know, my evening hours are staying up when the family goes to bed and literally answering messages for hours because I just don't have time during the day. So, yeah, I mean, I'm always down to help people.
Love to hear it. Real business owner that actually cares about getting his customers down the track or down the street, which is important. I always tell people, work with somebody who wants to work with you.
Yeah.
If your tuner wants to work with you, that's the tuner for you. If your suspension guy likes your car and he wants to help you out, work with him.
Yep.
If they don't seem interested, try somebody else. Like,
Yep.
So cool, man. It's cool to see. Well, guys, check them out. All the stuff will be in the description. But thank you guys for coming on.
thanks, Coop.
We'll see you guys next time.